that drama. I whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I really had a big like a llama. I whip that thing out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip them thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me.
Can't you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracies, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, making it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves. Welcome back to another episode of the Secret Society of Good Guys. As always, we are your good guys. Make sure you hit the bell, the thumbs up, the like, and subscribe everywhere. And just in time.
Whoa.
Look at that. Perfect
Doing.
Yay. Just in time.
Can you hear me through here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That means someone else is going to have to screw up at some point for this to really be a party.
To be
Usually it's me.
perfect episode. So if you do want to come hang out with the coolest chat in the whole world, go over to the Project Chaney channel on YouTube. For some reason, you guys, I will tell you this. We're working on it right now. We were just discussing it before we came on air. We're going to figure out something financially so we can move this whole thing over to a better streaming platform than we're on right now, which will give me the opportunity to not just talk to the YouTube channel. It will allow me to pull up X and also Rumble and wherever else that we are. So they just made it pricey. Like right when I was like, okay, I'm done playing with these other platforms. Let me move over here. And then I was like, what? What am I, Fort Knox?
So if you want to send super chats and help support the Secret Society of Good Guys, we're definitely okay with that.
We love it. We love it.
Do it.
So anyways, hi, good
Do
guys.
it.
How are you? Happy Friday night.
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
Well, it's also Rabbit. It's the first day. It's like there's the planets are aligning. It's Ramadan started like a few hours ago, and
Ramadan.
It's March 1st. So
And apparently, like, Mercury's back out of retrograde or something. I don't know. I heard that.
Oh, lovely. I usually am pretty hip to that, but because I'm a tech, and that's when I usually have all of my issues.
So hopefully no issues.
Yeah, well, not today, so maybe next week, but I ain't there yet.
I decided to think of
There is.
many intentions, like great intentions for this day. And I want to start like new habits. So I started new eating habits. I went bike riding today. Like I want to start new fresh habits with this alignment so I can start new things in my life. And I got the call today when I start my job, and like a lot of things align today, not just the alignment, but myself. I decided I'm going to play along with this
Good.
alignment and my intentions. Yeah. Felt very witchy today.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think I don't know. I think intentional living, it shows eventually, like in everyone. And even some people I know are very intentional and they still get poisoned by the government. But I think you can feel it in yourself in every little way. And if you're super clean, I don't know what this, I mean, I don't eat McDonald's, but if you're really clean, because if I eat McDonald's, I get a migraine. Like it's one of the things that give me an instant migraine. So it's almost like the thing that makes me stay away from it is I'm like, oh, this poisons me. I can feel the poison instantly. But people that eat really clean feel that about every like so many other things make them feel like that right
You know
away.
what's so weird that you said that though is that like one of the things that a lot of people are saying helps a migraine is McDonald's fries and a Diet Coke.
Yeah. It's strange.
But I think it's the salt.
And
It's
it
the
works
salt of it all, right?
instantly.
Don't you think?
There's some chemical, it's some kind of salt, and also something in the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Apparently, and people have been doing it on
Yeah.
TikTok when they have
Diet
like
Coke?
a bad migraine.
But you know
Diet-
what? For some
Diet
reason,
Coke.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
seems like the opposite of the like it seems like that would work. Like
Yeah. Don't eat the rest of it. Just get the fries and a Diet Coke.
I've been experiencing killer migraines. I don't know about you guys, but like terrible migraines this week. Not just me, but a few people I know. It's like, did they turn some kind of frequency up or down? And now our bodies are adjusting to it or something? I don't know.
This is really witchy and girly
Maybe
of
it's just
me,
me.
but I always have migraines on the new moon.
Always
It's usually
when?
low energy
On
for
the
me.
new moon. I always have a migraine. Sometimes on the new moon and full moon.
Mm.
It's like a 2-week cycle.
There's probably a drug for that.
There's a drug for everything.
No.
Like
There's probably a vaccine for
Moonanil.
that.
You just need a prescription of Moonanil, and that'll go right away.
A moon, a nil, and a
Right.
commercial of people playing tennis.
It's just concentrated aspartame.
Drug
get it
names
out of
are
the
tripping
Diet
me out
Coke.
lately because it's like Abbie and Abbie X, and I'm like, why the fuck are they doing my name on all these drugs now?
It's like the yellow pages. They all want them
Abstract.
to be, they all need like Amco and Acme because they want to be first
The
in the
letter
yellow
A,
pages.
not AB.
Yeah. Y'all,
How about daddy today, yo?
what a fucking week.
Lately.
Like, what a week. One, I want everyone to be aware of, because I think it's just funny in the conspiracy realm that no matter what you fucking talk about, everyone's like, that's a distraction. And then you're like, from? And they're like, the other thing. And so it's like, I'm capable of paying. Like, one of the things with my short attention span and my mild autism is that I can pay attention to a whole bunch of things at once. Like, it's one of actually my superpowers is that like I'm capable in the day of researching more than one thing, and more than one ticker can come across my screen and I can hold an opinion about it or change an opinion about more than one thing. I think it's so funny that whatever the thing you're not educated on is the distraction from the thing you seem to be educated on. That's just what I realized about the like whatever the argument is of the thing. So I want to talk about the entire week whatever the distraction may be, down to the Real Housewives of it all. That's how I roll. Down to the Mountain Dew of it all, as Thomas would say. So, Layla, where would you like to start? Daddy today?
I mean, I just loved it. I loved what I saw. Like when a leader puts somebody in their place for like being so fucking rude and disrespectful. Like you got billions of dollars off the backs of American people, and American soldiers have to fight for that country for what reason? And you have the audacity to say how we are going to feel the effects of certain things. Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Like, who are you? Like, who are you? And then you have Americans like losing their shit saying, oh, we're with Ukraine. I'm so embarrassed to be an American. That I'm like, y'all are not in your right minds. Y'all are not in your right minds to see how much Ukraine is a propaganda tool for money laundering for the Biden administration and who else is a part of that whole fucking scheme. I can't wait till they uncover the files for that. And they will. And they are. So when we have a leader that can show the world we're not fucking around, so find out. I love it.
I love that. He's
love
pretty
it.
much like,
Call
just
him a
go home
dictator.
until you're
I don't
ready
give a fuck.
to.
Well, when that motherfucker was
Oh.
here, that little midget motherfucker, when he was here under the Biden presidency, may I remind everyone, this little Nazi dictator fuck literally stood in front of our Congress, and these witch cunts held a Ukraine flag in front of our fucking flag. Like, that is spell shit to me. Everybody can act like that it's like easy, part cheesy. Like, in my opinion, when Bibi was there, Bibi was surprised that Trump said, we're going to turn Gaza into Trumpistan.
Yeah.
He was like, what? No, wait, I can't. How am I going to keep smuggling money from all these countries in Ukraine? He was fucking pissed, but didn't know how to play as cool as Bibi on the moment today, that little Zelensky. But really, two faces of the big, huge money laundering scam that's been happening to us for however long. If you look at the two places we send the most money in foreign aid, I bet it's Israel, Ukraine. I bet money it's Israel, Ukraine. And so it's just like you saw both the fools sit there and be like, what? You're not gonna. And I'm wondering, do we see Zelensky leave the United States without putting his tail between his legs and going back to the White House? I'm wondering, because does he get to go back? Like, they can pull up whoever they want and be like, it's all incubator babies to me. So they can pull up whoever they want and be like, this is I am a Ukrainian and I am so upset. I am of Donald Trump. He is a dictator and whatever. They can pull up whoever they want and say whatever they want. But I think the entire thing is wag the dog. I think the entire thing's a fucking movie set to keep smuggling. They're not spending real money in the ways that they're trying to say they need money. And they're the ones that are encroaching on Russia, which is a whole nother fucking argument. But I just am like, I don't believe any of it. I don't give a fuck. It all seems like World War III bullshit, like that I have to lean into the same rhetoric as Israel. It's just like, here we go again.
Isn't Zelensky trained up by the Soros family? And Soros created a whole show based around Zelensky and was used as propaganda to brainwash the people into voting for Zelensky. Isn't this the whole story?
Sounds right.
What was the name of that show? I forgot the name of that show.
Oh no, but I am trying to find. Is it on? I know I put up a picture today because I'm like, isn't Zelensky like George Soros' grandson? Like, have you guys seen pictures of him?
Like next to each other?
Yeah, hold on. I have one on my page. I know I
Do you guys remember that show, That's My Bush, in the like mid 2000s? I would kill for a version of that. It's like That's My Trump, where they just covered all this stuff. I mean, someone's leaving massive money on the table by not doing this.
Hero to the People. That was the show.
Oh, that was the title itself is propaganda.
Yeah, Hero to the People. And it was all started by fucking George Soros. It's like a propaganda tool, a puppet.
Look at
Central
Surprise,
casting.
surprise. Oh, that is his daddy.
Or at least his grandfather.
Yeah.
Come on.
Or his clone.
Like, that's not even stretch.
It's a clone.
Or one of his whores.
That looks just like him.
That's his
That-
new body.
Yeah,
that
it
looks
could
as
be
much like
one
him
of
as
his fucking
Castro and
escorts.
Trudeau.
I think this is just what happens when the Dementors focus in on you and start like sucking out your soul.
This is so weird. Sometimes I feel like this is some kind of like soul transference shit when they look so close alike.
Do you guys all
It's
know what we're
like
talking
they
about today
purposely-
collectively? The audience, if you're here, did you guys all see Zelensky at the White House today and Trump and JD Vance being like, nah, dog. You're not fleecing the American people
He's
anymore.
Trump's so like degrading in like a fun way though, where he's like, this little guy over here, he's an angry little one, isn't he? Aren't you an angry little fella? Like he kind of has this energy to him, and
We
he's like,
troll
man,
a little.
you just can't take this Putin guy, huh, man? Like, why can't you get over it, little guy? Like that was sort of the energy that he led into it with.
He's such a troll. I love it.
It was people were doing like lip reading and up close because I guess Zelensky was mic'd, and I guess he said in whatever language he called Vance a bitch, when that's why Trump gets aggressive. Like that's why Trump changes his entire, and you're like, huh, you would. Trump seems like
Let
the
me show
type
you
of
who's a
dude,
bitch,
he just
okay?
happens to speak Ukrainian. Like no one ever knows, and he hears it under his, like, I almost want to pull it up, like where it first goes awry, because it all seems fine until Vance is speaking, and then I don't know, let's see. And then there's so many funny videos that are coming out though. Just the internet is so fucking funny. Oh, I'll have to scroll through this thing forever.
It was a fairly long clip too. It was like 7 or 8 minutes of this Vance and Trump kind of interaction with Zelensky.
Yeah, and I know the media is loving them. Like they love that Trump's back in. Like as much as they say they hate him, they fucking love it for what they do as a career. It's like, oh, finally
something to
some
talk
fucking
about.
action. We can actually speak to the
Yeah.
president.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. As if this is it. Escape. Even you, but you have nice ocean between you. It's just such a
Like, what does that mean,
that
my friend?
oh,
What
you
are
don't have
trying
to
say
protect
there?
yourself from Russia. You have nice ocean.
And
Is he wearing
don't
like a
feel
jumper?
now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't know
God
that.
bless. You will
Don't-
not
you
have
gotta-
war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
that.
what I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was about
You
to
don't
say
have the
that.
cards right now. With us, you start having
Not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What you-
III.
what you
You're
speaking
gambling
about?
with
What you
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is
These are
very
just two actors.
disrespectful to the country, this country.
It's just like that is an episode of The Apprentice.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's probably coked out.
It's so wild, dude.
An ocean between too, and it's like just a couple miles or something from Russia to Alaska.
I know you do not have you are going to feel influence. Like it was just so funny how long he went on, but then he ends up getting kicked out of the White House. And so I thought it was kind of funny because next to their conversation was a big silver platter with a Trump signature on it. So it was like a huge silver platter, like here's Zelensky on a silver platter. And then they kick Zelensky out of the White House right before lunch. So they ate his lunch. Like, I just think all the terms of the entire thing are just really funny.
Those are pretty good metaphors.
So, yeah, because I guess he was, the whole mineral deal that was supposed to happen is like the $360 billion that they've fleeced in Ukraine over the last X amount of years for this said war. Trump's like, yeah, cool story. If you can't afford to pay us back, we'll hold your minerals like pawn, and you can buy the minerals back from us, or they're ours, kind of shit. But why should the American people have to pay for this? And I feel like if Doge starts giving the American people 20% of everything they're pulling in, I feel like watch how quickly everyone's like, Ukraine who? Like all them Ukraine flags are gonna drop off like quickly.
You know what I also liked? When Vance is like, your propaganda tours. And I'm like, that's exactly what they were. It was all propaganda, and it still is. You go to Ukraine, they're fucking living life out there. They're having the time of their lives out there with our money, by the way.
Because you're just going to very specific wag the dog sections that they allow the press to, or that they allow anyone to, so that you get told the narrative that you need to be told for the war.
I do have 2 friends, like a married couple, that had to flee Ukraine, and they're in Amsterdam now, but like, or the Netherlands, I should say, but yeah. So some people did actually have to leave.
But I think they had to leave because of Zelensky, not because of Russians.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I don't think it had anything to do with Russia.
Yeah, it's something the same. It feels like the democracy of South Korea. That's what really happened to the North Koreans. It wasn't. It feels like it's such a fucking lie. Everything feels like such a fucking lie that it feels like that we would never know the real story.
Right.
That it's really because a bunch of Ukrainian Nazis are going in and raping and pillaging and doing all this shit, and then they're dressing like Russians. It's the KKK of Ukraine. It's like, let's put a fucking thing on my head and I'm going to call myself a Russian.
Remember all those videos that came out during the whole, like when it first started, and all the Ukrainian people talking about how the Ukrainian soldiers were actually the terrorists in their nation, and they were saying how the Russians were actually saving the Ukrainian people, which they were, and these Ukrainians were like getting high off of cocaine, which is their number one fucking type of drug there, and going around, like Chaney said, raping and pillaging through villages and dressing up as Russians, and they're not Russian. They're Ukrainians, their own people, going against their own people, and going against their own churches too. How many churches have they decided to shut down?
And every kind.
And how many?
Like every kind.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Mosque, church,
It's
temple,
crazy.
like all of it.
Faith wasn't allowed.
So I don't know.
Strange.
Yeah. And then we had the fake Epstein list this week. That it was nothing new. I feel like you could have found more online.
Yeah, we've had the original
there was.
list
I actually feel like
for so long.
It was less redacted than what the dance party was outside of the, and I thought Riggs made the funniest comment because there was a video of all the influencers who got the binder at the White House, and they all did like a dance and jumped, and Riggs wrote "Dancing Israelis."
One of them had the Knights of Templar tattoos on their wrist, holding the binder.
Oh shit.
And literally had a Knights of Templar tattooed on their wrist. I'm like, that's fascinating.
Maybe it's a Joan of Arc thing.
Mm-hmm.
This would be such a waste to actually release the names and just start prosecuting left and right. Like that's not what that thing is for. And I'm kind of with you guys. I don't think that the list is even real. I don't think it ever existed. I think that it exists as a proxy for like, hey, now blackmail is up for bid on the market. If you've got the broker that knows where to make these deals, like this amount of blackmail is now up for grabs. And that's kind of what they're doing this entire time. And every time they tease that it's going to get released, that's almost like the auctioneer saying like, all right, once, twice, you know what I mean?
Like a debt collector selling your debt.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like something that's actually going to be exposed.
And we're kind of learning that the states' rights have always been there. like we never realized it with things until it hit like abortion, and people were like, wait, abortion's the same as marijuana? And it's like, yep, state rights. And then we get to criminal things, and it's like, yeah, here too. Like each of these states has their own code and their own law enforcement and their own whatever. So even if there's something to be seen, this is the curious part of the case, is that the SDNY stuff of the NYPD or Anthony Weiner's laptop, Hillary's emails, like we've seen other cases all get stuck in the same state. The interesting thing to me in this state of it all, why is Ghislaine held in a medium security in a whole different state? Like is she in a federal prison? Like, I don't think so. I think she's just in a medium security Florida prison.
In prison at all.
I mean, maybe she's not in prison at all.
Road trip.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We could just sit and look in binoculars until she jogs around the track.
Yeah.
It's gotta be close to Layla's house.
Let's do it.
Let's look up where Ghislaine's at. Let's see how far away it's from Layla.
I thought she was in New York.
No,
Florida.
Ghislaine Maxwell being held. Let's check. Sentenced to 20 years.
This is a new trend. Every week we go and visit Maxwell, and we call the White House.
Yeah.
One of those two is got to go somewhere at some point.
Moved to a low security prison in Florida. Okay, cool. Where? This is FCI Tallahassee.
That's an hour and a half away from me, or 2 hours actually.
Tallahassee.
Not a fan of Tallahassee.
Me either. I don't really want to do it either, but it might be. This is where we have our secret society of good guys road trip.
We go to all the nation capitals, all the state capitals.
State capital road trip. So she's there in the Federal Corrections Institute. Isn't that exactly where Gopher Wood is found? Look at how close, Layla. I'm right there. Yeah, visit her like now.
Yep. Yeah. Like, hey, can I just go visit Ghislaine Maxwell, please? Just go to the jail.
I just pictured you with that like lady that beats up the rubber dummy.
Yeah, I'm here to interview her.
Like, go.
No,
we're family.
I do it for a podcast.
You like kill
She's
Ghislaine.
my aunt.
I don't know. I think you'd be a hero if you did that. Some people, don't you think? Like, let's just say we were talking about writing a script so we don't get in trouble. Let's
in
just
Minecraft.
Say in Minecraft, if you were to like, you have your dragon bite the head off magical Bill Gates in Minecraft, don't you think the rest of the Minecraft civilians would just cheer for you? Like, don't you think whatever they're doing to the fame of Luigi, you might even be more popular than that? Like, you wouldn't be vilified. You might be like a hero.
Yeah, because it's not along the. What's that one church that fucking protested? It's not like that.
You all right, Layla?
My stomach right now. Just need a second. Oh,
Layla's
I've been
doing
eating a lot of fermented foods and like fibrous foods and like binders.
I hope you're drinking enough water, because if you're eating a lot of fiber, the first couple days it'll fuck you up.
Oh my god. Whew.
Thomas, we were talking about doing this thing for like Secret Society of Good Guys. If like Abbie made us all personalized nutrition and exercise plans,
like a 30-day challenge or
like
something?
a 30-day challenge, and we all good guys and had to check in and like did all like intentionally live like Abbie for 30 days. And then we do it for another.
I should have sent you the pictures of my one client and had you pull them up so that way we could show like what she did in 30 days. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Body by Abbie.
Yeah,
that's right.
I probably wouldn't show pictures of myself now or 30 days from now, but maybe now in 100.
No, but you would take them anyway. for yourself. You have to take them at the beginning, even if you've like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And I never want to look at it again. Like you have to take it because then like in 2 weeks and you're like, oh my gosh, I already look different. And then a month, you're like, oh, holy shit, I look fucking awesome. Like not where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely way better than I was. And you can like the pictures are important.
I agree. Progress.
Even if nobody else sees them but you.
Progress.
Yep.
But yes, you guys, if you don't know or if you're new here, Abbie is training to get her professional bodybuilding card, and like she has a competition in how many weeks?
6 weeks. I'm 6 weeks out.
And so her body goes through a huge change in like the last 12 weeks. I would say like she gets the peak of her weight and then you start to see her come down as she's like her muscles coming. It's like a whole body transformation. So
it's rough. It's like the hardest shit ever. This time has been worse than my previous preps. They call it prep. So it's usually like 20 weeks of dieting and a lot of cardio. And I'm not even doing a lot of cardio right now, but I'm feeling the low body fat more than I ever have. Like my body is like my brain. I threw my phone in the trash and took it out to the dumpster. Like I went to somebody else's apartment, a whole different building. I was trying to get in their door and knocking on it and everything at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got into the wrong car after the gym. Like my brain's not working as good as it usually does. And I feel it too.
But I think like it just seems like the hardest part of the battle is cutting the weight for the battle.
Yeah.
But it might be helpful for you mentally if you're also thinking about us assholes.
Absolutely.
And like
Yeah,
you
it
can,
would. It'd keep me
instead of
busy.
just having to concentrate on
I'm gonna
like
make you guys
not
miserable
eating.
too. just teasing.
Yeah. So
Misery
anyways,
loves company.
it was an idea that we were talking about doing. So if we do decide to have a sober month, maybe not sober March, maybe sober April or some shit like that, where we'll play around with like going hard.
Summer
Maybe,
bod.
yeah, then maybe our chat or our audience will want to play along too.
Hell yeah.
And we can all
How
like
sober are we talking here?
do challenge. I will smoke my marijuana.
Okay. All right. We're not getting too crazy.
I'm gonna be Jamaican sober. Big up yourself.
A lot of bodybuilders smoke pot. A lot of them microdose mushrooms too. I don't know what the theory behind that is, but I think it does help with like body like recovery or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting.
If the entire thing's not a full psyop, the whole entire Gabby Petito thing, which could be all fake altogether. But if it's real and you watch that whole documentary of them on tape and you think at all it's real and you're like, these people are fucking weird. But then if you think, oh, they're microdosing. They're two kids that saved all their money. And then they were like, let's drive cross country and do mushrooms in the van all summer. And then they recorded themselves. It's not that weird if you think of them, oh, they're on mushrooms. And
Yeah.
I just
No, not at all.
And it also feels like some of the weird shit that could have gone down, like the whole thing, if you just want to think about it, the whole thing could just be explained away like, oh, these kids got too deep on mushrooms, like too far away from reality for too many days at a time.
I wouldn't put that too much on mushrooms though.
I don't know. I feel like the microdosing trend, anything that Oregon pretty much pushes, I always am like, maybe I should step back from this. Maybe it's not such a great idea that
I think I did
everybody in the
mushrooms
world.
for an entire summer once, like over a month straight.
But I don't know. I wonder if microdosing though makes you think that you're not as much under the influence of it, you know? And so you think that your thoughts are pretty rational because when you're out there and you know you are.
Yeah, I think that it's just I don't know. I did it for a little while too. I don't even know how many days. Like I lost sight of how many days, but I know one time that I did it for like just like 3 or 4 days straight, that I know the block of time. And I definitely remember getting very weird. And it could have been mushrooms. It could have been mushrooms mixed with a little bit of lack of sleep, but I felt like whatever veils were in this reality were starting to thin for me. Like in a way where I'm like, I'm talking to dead people. This is insane. Like insanity. like what people would call insanity, but I don't know. So it might not just be the mushrooms. It could be like lack of sleep mixed with something, but it just feels like it would be if it's a tool of MK Ultra and then a whole society is just like, let me take this without any kind of knowledge of the thing or any intention on the thing. It could just be wild.
I think that they realized that there was going to be a major shift in culture from the whole like psychedelic revolution, and I just think that they wanted to be in control of the chaos. I don't know if they necessarily were the ones that unleashed it onto the world, or that they even had an intention. It was more like, uh-oh, this wave is coming, and we can either figure out how to freaking surf before everyone else does, so we know what we're doing, or we can just kind of see what happens. But I think that there was nothing stopping the actual like quote unquote revolution from happening. But a lot of people put that on the CIA or whoever else, that the state, that they somehow started with mushrooms and they were like, let's put this out into the public, which admittedly is kind of what really happened in real life. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that was necessarily the plan. Part of me thinks that Henry Luce, the Skull and Bones guy that ran Time Life magazine, the ones that gave us the name magic mushroom and popularized it with, like stay-at-home moms and people around the dinner table, part of me just wants to believe that he tried mushrooms and just loved it so much he was like, everyone's got to do this, and that it wasn't all 100% Skull and Bones MK Ultra.
Like, there's a good possibility of that.
I don't know. I don't know. Is it harsh on your liver?
Mushroom? I mean, definitely no more so than alcohol. I think even less.
But that
There's
doesn't.
Supplements you can take for that, like Tudcut and NAC. Those are
I'm just wondering, like, it does seem like really my contrarian is going through does it take away the ritual of it, doing it every day, or should you just do it every day and take away the ritual? Like I'm doing, it's not that either of them's bad. It's
I kind of feel that way. Like nothing is so sacred that you have to uphold this ritual. Although sometimes I find myself in a party of one when you take that to the logical conclusion, because I'm also like, yeah, I would rather just grab a DMT vape pen than go all the way to freaking Colombia and meet with a shaman and sit down and do the whole, like, that seems unfair. I don't want to go and hang out with a bunch of strangers for 12 hours and eat your weird vegan crap. Like, I want to be able to experience this in my own reality, my own bubble, from my own point of view, and not feel like I was like vacationing there, like a tourist.
Well, because even like Castaneda, his very first book, I think it's The Yaqui Way of Life is what it's called, but in that one, it's his dissertation, because he was I don't know, he was something, I can't remember right now. My brain's not working. Anyway,
Abbie's brain's not working for the next 6 weeks. Deal with it.
Everybody liked reading the book because it was the 60s, and they taught you how to do like this certain Mexican mushroom, which they actually smoke, and then how to do datura, and then peyote. But in the second book, like, so they do the ritual around it. Each one had its own ritual, how you had to gather it and everything to like respect the plant, because each plant had a spirit. But then he goes on into the second book, and he had to do a lot of the psychedelics because he could not accept that reality could be anything but what he saw, black and white. And so Don Juan had to break his brain more or less and keep pushing psychedelics. But he took him to this one retreat where everybody just sat and did peyote for days and days and days. So he was like, I mean, it was a ritual, but it really wasn't. It was really just kind of more like, just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. They were just eating peyote buttons, and
what's
so I think
interesting?
it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Even in the days, it's a ritual. Like, I know people that do it natively, but it's like a 3-day ritual. It's just not, it's not a short time. It's like, oh, they have this whole, like, almost like vision quest kind of idea with it too.
Have you guys seen Dune 2?
Yes.
And okay, I haven't seen it, but this guy made this connection with like the blue water and how the oracles in that movie, or the mages, those women who had the blue eyes, and he was making the connection about like somehow making your own blue water with psilocybin, however you pronounce it, and you take that daily, and eventually more and more you get the connection of the ether, which is God. Pretty much it's all the ideas that ever exist or could possibly exist on this realm. So it's like, I think the mushrooms, as above so below, are the different type of matter that connects you to that realm of the ether, that connects you to the ideas and the spirits and all XYZ. So I feel like there's a connection there with different ways of taking these plants, whether you make it into a water or eat it with a honey, or eating it with different types of substances or with milk, can create different effects and different connections with different energies, I think, is what I'm understanding.
Well, like the Peter Hadron, the 434, the 434 channel, that's he speaks like he got high on mushrooms, and then all of a sudden started hearing a voice, and they were machine elves, and so that's what he did. Like he was tapped into something, because everything he puts out is freaking gold.
Well, when you think about it, taking mushrooms with water maybe connects you to the water energy. If you're taking, like, let's say, fucking mushrooms with charcoal, let's say, maybe it connects you to a different thing. And then mushrooms with fucking oranges, maybe you connect with a different source.
What about Mountain Dew? Where does that take
I
you?
don't know about that. I have no fucking idea. Maybe the devil. I don't know. Maybe Iblis.
Do the do.
I have no fucking
It is
idea.
interesting to me on some of these psychedelics how there does seem to be entities in certain psychedelics that seem to be there for more than one visitor. Like that exists. Like people never go into, I don't know, they never do like a whole bunch of some other drug and see Lady Ayahuasca, or they never see the DMT things why they're also doing Sylvia, or they're never like see the, you know what I mean? It's like whatever the entities are exist in the drug that seems to be the entity.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that it, like if it was just your brain having an experience, then the entity, I would imagine that it would be your brain gathering all the things of your life to put the experience in your psychosis of psychedelic. So whether you were on DMT or acid or mushrooms, said being may or may not be around you based on your personal experience, but that's not the case.
What's weird is when everybody sees describes the same sort of entity with the drug.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Okay, I didn't understand that's what you were saying. I mean, I listened to the whole thing, but
can you smoke mushrooms, guys?
No, and yeah, it's he tells you how to do it. It's a certain Mexican mushroom.
Thomas,
that
you can't just smoke. You can't just smoke the mushroom. Like they had to gather like the fluff of a certain flower at a certain time of the year that like when it went to seed and it's just fluffy or whatever, and then that would go inside the pipe, and then the mushrooms would go on top of it. So it's like it's a whole, it teaches you how to do a whole bunch of different drugs.
It's probably the fluff that's on Fantasia from the Disney.
There you go.
You know how they turn into the little ladies and they're like ding 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 whatever shit. Wait, I think I just did a whole different ballet. I only know two ballets, Fantasia and the Nutcracker.
I wonder, could you smoke Tinkerbell? Could you just like pack her in a pipe and just lay her on fire and smoke her?
I don't
know.
Maybe
that's what PCP is, right?
Yeah. Can you just like take one of those DMT elves and just smoke one of them?
Why? Here's a question: why would they call angel dust angel dust?
That is a good question.
Did they meet angels? Is that the substance?
And angel dust is PCP, right?
Is that
And you turn into like a fucking Nephilim strong. Like 8 motherfuckers can't take you down.
I've seen this in real life before. It was absolutely terrifying to see a person act like a legitimate superhero or supervillain, depending on whose side you're on. When you see 6 or 7 cops that are unable to bring one guy down that's basically naked.
That's PCP, huh?
That's PCP, yeah.
Huh. Speaking of
PCP.
drugs, you were right, Chaney. They don't actually test for marijuana.
Who
I know.
doesn't?
Drug tests.
I know. Doesn't it make you feel so much better? One of the funny things to me about when I had to like use fake pee once at a job when I was welding and I was working on a really big welding site, and if anyone hurt themselves because of the insurance on this site, we all had to go and drug test. Even if I was nowhere near you, you could have been you could have been a quarter mile away from me. If you hurt yourself, we all had to go drug test. And so I had fake pee in my work truck. And I remember being like so nervous. I have to use the fake pee. And they were like, Chaney, you're not going to your parole officer. No one's going to follow you in the fucking bathroom. Like, I'm such a goody. Just even doing, I was like, oh my gosh. And so my Marine buddy friend, I repeat this all the time to everybody because it was one of the most nerve-wracking things. I'm just a goody with certain things. And so the only thing I wasn't allowed to do was smoke weed and be a welder. And so I was at this place and my Marine buddy friend says, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And just repeat that to yourself. That's what we repeat to ourselves when we have to put our gun together fast. Like, you can't let your nerves get to you if there's bullets over your head and all this stuff. So slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Slow is smooth, and you'll start getting faster as you do it. But I was just like, I'm gonna spill this pee all over myself. I'm gonna spill this pee. I hope it's the right temperature. Oh my gosh, this is so nerve-wracking. They're gonna know. They're gonna immediately know I didn't pee. Like, it's just I should pee in the toilet a little bit to make the sound.
Dude, you know what's weird? I didn't know, but like, even when you're done with the test, they're like, please don't flush your toilet. I'm like, that's weird. Why? And I'm like thinking, maybe they don't want people flushing something down the toilet, or that's
or they test that toilet. They don't even test the thing you bring them. They go and they test the toilet water.
Strange.
They're getting all sneaky with it.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care about what you peed in the vial. We test the toilet.
But if I ever need pee, I have my mom, so I'm good.
Yeah, but most places, just so everyone knows, depending on your state, they don't really care about marijuana, depending on the job. As long as you're not dealing with heavy machinery, then they're just looking for other shit.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad.
I was so nervous for no reason, but I start Monday.
Yeah.
You know, in some states, fake pee is also a crime in itself. The fact that you even have fake pee.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So let's say you bring fake pee and they find out it's fake pee. Can they call the cops on you?
I think it depends on whether or not that was for the state, because now it's like introducing fraud. But I've seen, I'm basing this entirely on either like a live PD or a cops, but in one of the states, they pulled someone over and found, it was like a work truck, kind of like Chaney was describing, and they found their backup fake pee kit and ended up catching a charge just for having it.
Damn.
Assholes.
Seriously.
Assholes.
Like, I love cops, but I hate them at the same fucking time.
I feel like it's just true about anything. No matter, you could just, if you wanted to make a blanket statement and say all dog groomers are heroes, people would easily be like, well, that's probably not true. Half of them are probably nutbags. And everyone could be like, yeah, makes sense. So I just feel like everything, soldier, nurse, cop, whatever, there's nutbags and assholes everywhere.
Yeah, there's professions where like, why the fuck is that person doing this job? They shouldn't be doing it.
But I feel like how they treat a lot of people just, for stupid charges, how they get like so nasty with people instead of like being community cops and like making relationships with your community and understanding who these people are, instead of just automatically treating one like an automatic criminal and they're not even fucking criminals. I hate that. I hate how they treat people. And I get like this fucking country is dangerous. I get it. It's like one of the most dangerous countries in the world. But at the same time, it's safe because we do have these cops. But it's just, I don't know. It's like I love them, I hate them. It's like, do better.
I'll tell you some fucking shit. Like, this is probably somewhere in the last few months. I was leaving Walmart, pulling out, and all of a sudden lights. I'm like, oh, this shit. I pull over to the side of the road somewhere safe for me and the officer. tap, 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 rolls down the window. Do you know why I'm pulling you over? Do you know why you're pulling me over? Like, and this is automatically me. I'm Constitution. Like, they're about to get it. Like, here we go. And they're like, your lights weren't on. And I was like, oh,
damn it.
I was like, oh shit. They're like, can we see your license and registration, please? And I was like, yes. Like, get it out of the glove box and hand it to them. And they're like, we're sure everything's going to be fine, but I'll run you real quick and then I'll let you get out of here. And it was like, all right, motherfucker. Like, I felt like, you got me, bitch.
So annoying.
But I was about to be such a cocksucker. But I was all in a safe, bright place where I felt like, oh, I can even get smart mouth here. There's going to be enough people around. You know, like, that's how I feel too. Like, I won't pull over. And there was David Allen Gore in Florida by my area, and he would put a fake light in his car and pull ladies over and then like drag them into the orange groves and like rape them and kill them. So anyone, it's like one of the things. I won't pull over anywhere for a cop. I'll put my hazards on and we're going to go for a little drive until I feel like we're in a place.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I think a lot of people don't understand, especially I want to say a lot of like African American people don't understand that women have to have the same fear about getting pulled over. Because there's this little town that I drove through every day to go to work, and my daughter would drive through too. This highway patrolman who had worked that highway for 19 years just got busted last year for pulling women. He'd been doing it forever, pulling women over and raping them. But this one day, he pulled over a female truck driver, and he pulled out of his truck. She had a dash cam. He didn't know it. He pulled out of his car. He went and pulled her over, and then he went back to his car and moved it to where his dash cam wasn't facing hers. So, and he went back in and like told her she had to suck his dick, and she had it all on camera. So, but that shit happens all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And people, I mean, I'm sure he was well respected, 19 years working as a highway patrolman in that small town.
It seems like small town. I mean, LAPD, any town. I don't know. Corruption.
I have a question for y'all guys.
Women, just roll your window down this much. They ain't gotta you don't gotta put all the
for
way down.
anyone. I get nervous for
lock
people.
your door. Let them see you lock your door and crack your window. That's all you gotta do.
You can talk to me through here.
The worst part of that is the sexism, because he probably didn't offer that same deal to just anyone. It was like only the ladies.
You feel gypped. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Like, what if I want to get out of my ticket?
Bend over, buddy.
Let's say you're in a situation, right, and the cops are already there. Okay. Am I allowed to call the cops to get a person who's involved with bringing the cops to, like, let's say for me, okay, let's say someone that I know is in a situation, I know the other person's supposed to be in jail instead of the person that I'm with. Can I call the cops while the cops are there to make a complaint and have the other person arrested? Could I get arrested?
You can have another cop show up.
Yeah.
Well, the cop was telling me that, hey, if you call the cops, I'm going to arrest you for calling the cops while I'm here. I'm like, well, you're not doing what I'm asking you to do, so I'm going to call the cops so they can go do what I'm asking. He's like, if you do that, I'm going to put you in jail. I was like, why? I am allowed to call the police officer. He's like, well, that's misuse of the police officers or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, what law is that? I've never heard of that law. If I need to call the police officers, I can call the police officers because you don't want to do what I'm asking you to do.
Then I would be like, if you're not going to, like, then you call them on your little walkie, whatever your number code is, call a 44777 and get them here, because say I want you to have another cop on scene. Whatever that number code is, you say it here, or I'm going to say it in this number code, and I'm going to say it here. But one of us has to call another officer, or this is going to get to a place that we obviously are not going to find an agreement tonight.
I don't know. I didn't like that motherfucking cop, man. Fuck. You know, sometimes we wish you could just punch somebody in the face. You fucking lucky you got a badge on, you son of a bitch. Yeah,
I've been little ladied by a cop before. I've been little ladied by a cop. Like, and he said, watch your mouth, little lady. And then he looked at my guy friend as if it was my daddy. Like, take care of her, and then why don't you tell me, calm gentlemen, what's going on tonight? And I was like,
you condescending motherfucker.
My friend was like, oh, I can't wait to get out of the jail so I could fuck your wife. And it's a girl. And she's like, I can't wait to get out of here so I'm going to fuck your wife, you little faggot. I was like, oh, well, go for it. I mean, I just let it out. Just fucking let it out. Let it out. It's just free speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want to these motherfuckers. If you want to say what you want to say, just don't threaten them.
I get more flies with honey.
Yeah.
Like even the guy that pulled me over when I was like, why don't you tell me why you're pulling me over? And then once he was like, cause your lights are, and I was like, oh.
Sometimes
like, immediately I was like.
Sometimes though, it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like,
oh yeah.
Oof, yeah. It's like, don't be a smart motherfucker. We know what you're trying to do here. And I was so right. I was so on point. But anyway.
I mean, it must be it's so easy for them to be able to instigate shit, knowing that they can instigate, but that if you instigate back, that now you're maybe committing a crime, or they're coaxing you into just doing what their job is. It would almost be like if if I'm working at McDonald's and someone comes up to the counter and I'm like, yeah, get that burger. You know what I mean? Like I'm just convincing you.
He wanted to arrest me so bad.
That's what people always do to cops too. They're always like, I pay your salary.
Oh, I didn't say that to him.
I pay your salary. That's like a thing I always hear when people are
I don't understand what's the cop supposed to feel with that? Like, haha, I'm gonna take your money and use it against you. Your money just paid for you to be in handcuffs.
I genuinely feel like if you're a cop and somebody tells you they're a sovereign citizen, just because you don't wanna, you're just like, have a good day. It's not because of anything else other than you're just like, oof.
I don't want to deal with this shit right now.
Yeah, this will be like 3 years later. I'll be in court with this motherfucker being their own attorney. Like, you go ahead, like, have a nice day.
With their notarized birth certificate.
I would have so much fun if I was a cop and someone pulled that, like, I'm not driving, I'm traveling. I'd be like, oh man, he said the magic word. All right, let's go and get the next one. This guy clearly knows his rights more than we do. You got one, sir. And just
like McLovin.
feed him into that.
Unfortunately for all my guy friends, my lady friends, I feel like sometimes I make them look like lesbians inadvertently. Like I'm a cock blocker sometimes if it's just me and one other girl, because people just assume they're gay. But when I'm with my guy friends, once they get the read for real, like if I'm hanging out with Thomas and they're like, and their gaydar's like, he's not gay. This doesn't calculate. Then they're like, oh, fuck, they're cops.
Hell yeah. In New York, I'd automatically think you two are cops.
5-0.
I feel like it's happened to me a few times, especially like
detectives.
Yeah, like having different businesses or different things, like working on different job sites with a guy partner and stuff, that it's like, oh, we just got rained out at this really weird job. We'll pull into this bar real quick that we've never seen or been to. And we've been at the bar like playing Golden Tea. They're like, you guys want a beer? We're like, nah, we're good. Just a soda. We're just going to sit here and play a game of Golden Tea real quick. Cause really we're just waiting for the rain to finish so we can go back out. And the people around have never seen us. And then I'm looking around like, these motherfuckers were just doing drug deals. Like, this is some, oh shit, we're in the wrong spot. They think we're 5-0. We got to get the fuck out of here right now.
So weird. How many actors died, by the way, this week?
Gene Hackman, his wife and dog, and
what's
her name? That
hairstylists, right?
Oh yeah.
And the craft girl.
Not
Frugal Bulk. Was it Frugal Bulk?
Faruka, yeah.
Frugal Bulk died. And
really?
Yeah,
I think so. Let's
and
check it out.
I
Buffy's
believe
little
so.
sister,
That's
whatever
what
her
I
name
saw,
was.
and I shared it.
Michelle.
I didn't research it though.
I don't think Fairuza Balk died.
Are you sure? No.
Oh, fake news.
Oh God.
News.
So I got duped.
Okay, but here's what really did happen. The girl who did die was the girl from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, right, yeah. A Nickelodeon / Disney actress.
Yes. Strange.
Oh my God.
And she was in a movie called The Scribbler, which I haven't seen yet, but it's about a girl that has multiple personalities and is like trapped in some weird government program. It's basically sounds like an MK Ultra movie.
Sounds good, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's called The Scribbler. It was the last feature movie that this girl was in. Even though it didn't do great, that was the last big one.
I liked her because of the
XOXO
spy
Gossip
movie.
Girl.
Well, the spy movie, Harriet the Spy. Yeah. That was fucking awesome. It was an awesome childhood movie.
And somebody else, okay, you guys said Gene Hackman. So what is going on? I feel like new stuff came out today about his death.
They were saying that
the
they were
last
mummified.
that I heard, yeah, his wife died first, and then he went and found his wife dead, and then had a heart attack, I guess, from seeing this. And then they had a dog that was locked in its crate. So after Gene and his wife died, then the dog starved to death after, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 days or something.
That's bullshit.
So yeah, so the whole family, everyone thought it was carbon monoxide because they all died with no signs of foul play or anything. But that's apparently what the whole story was.
I don't believe that.
Can you guys see that the wife tested negative for carbon monoxide?
I don't believe that. There's another story.
Was
I've
his
heard,
wife a
like,
Chinese spy? Where was his wife from?
they said they found her with a bunch of pills around her, with an open bottle of pills on the floor dead. That was another story. And I'm just like,
I just think it's funny. Like, we have all this stuff coming out with, Dr. Fauci and mRNA. And so really what they've been up to is hacking our genes, hacking our DNA. And so then you have Gene Hackman, like, shut up.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
shit. What's his wife's name? I wonder what the dog's name is.
Oh, I know, dog coms. But I
Yeah.
think it's also funny that they're like, the wife was mummified.
Yeah.
Like, they are specific about those terms. And so I'm like, oh, that means she's dead for a while, right? If she's mummified, all the liquids left her body.
Yeah, but
but
it's like that would still not be natural because like
Yeah.
mummification. I mean, I'm not even talking about Egyptian mummies. I mean, like, I'm just talking about,
Ooh.
like, usually it's like high levels of arsenic will mummify you.
What if the technology does something? The nanobots that are, still alive within the body after the body passes. Does it turn you into a zombie?
Oh
I
my
would assume
gosh,
they would
that's
very
they would
much sure.
leave and then jump into the next live person they come across.
Mm. I don't
New
fucking know,
host.
man.
Yeah, you don't want to be, if you're a nanobot, you don't want to be hanging out in some dead body. That seems boring.
Well, it's not just a nanobot. It's like a whole system that grows inside of a human. So let's say like the organs can't take it. Maybe they could just take over the organs
like
with
a
the
fungus.
technology and then just become alive. Out
Look
of
at
nowhere.
what movie Gene Hackman was in. Route 66.
Mhm.
Isn't
I
that
live
where
on Route
Isaac Cappy was
66.
found?
That's where I live too.
Oh,
Was it Route 66 that
66.
Isaac Cappy was found?
I
I
think
don't.
so. Or was it another famous route? No, it's only Route 66 that's famous.
Yeah, it was Route 66.
Okay. I was on a whole nother screen. Let me back out of this because I really wanted to, like, personal life. You guys, this is what I do sometimes when I'm just where are we at on this thing? So many people are messing with this right now. Usually early life and military service, career. Usually there's a section called personal life.
Was there another
here.
plane crash? Or was that just bugging in Philadelphia?
A classical pianist. Betsy Arakawa. What is that last name? I need to know where she's from. If anybody finds out, put it in the chat.
She's Asian.
I know. I want to say she looks Hawaiian a little bit. That it was like usually the wikis are set up different. That one looked totally like, I don't know, but I'm sure a lot of people are typing it right now. It might be being updated in the moment. That's what I like. When there's hot topics like this, you can check at I'll read the last edited page sometimes just to watch it update. Oh, that's so nice of you. You guys all cheer me up too. It's a decent Friday. Weird. I watched that Matthew Perry thing right before we came on. I watched some Matthew Perry documentary.
Yeah. I wonder their connection with Salma Hayek, his connection with Salma Hayek and his death related to, I think it's more related to her now that I see on her page, like their connection. They seem pretty close, kind of. And now all the information about her and her husband and Balenciaga and the type of art that they fucking sell, which is disgusting. It's pretty weird one.
I don't know. Gene Hackman seems like old motherfucking Hollywood.
Yeah.
Also, Roberta Flack died.
Oh, Killing Me Softly. Talk about Killing Me Softly. No one remember. It's like the Buffy girl got talked about first.
Yeah.
That's Killing Me Softly,
because
right?
she was only 39. So out of all of the celebrities that all died, usually the younger, because then you're like, did they overdose? Did they kill themselves? Did they get murdered? Like, was it a sacrifice? What was it when they're younger? If it's Gene Hackman or Roberta Flack, sometimes it's just old age.
Wasn't Gene Hackman 93?
Yeah, and he died of heart
93
failure.
and 39. So
and he had a pacemaker.
I know those two numbers, like those are the two that are brought up, the oldest one and the youngest.
I wonder if they all had something in common though. Regardless of age or race or
I feel the news should start doing that. Every time there's a celebrity death, they should say, so and so died, and then they just put like a little syringe icon at the end of their name, whether or not they got that. Just at this point, it almost feels like a public service to just let people know.
I don't remember what happened of recent. There was something stupid that happened this week where whatever criminal or person or famous person obviously didn't die in that way. But then I wrote vaccinated ? Like it just feels
I saw
like
that.
I forget what one it was, but I was just like, it made just me laugh. It was one of those things that it was like, this is
I think I liked your comment. I was like,
and I don't know what it was about. Like it had nothing to do with nothing, and it was like vaccinated. Like what a dick. But it was just for me.
But that's what most people should be thinking. Every time anything happens, you develop like a weird little cough or like your back is sore for no reason. That's where my mind would go to, be like, oh, is this gonna be one of those side effects? Is this starting now?
Like you can have a conversation and like, oh, I have long COVID. Did you get vaccinated? Yeah. So it's not long COVID. It's the effects of the shot. You sickos. Like, why can't you
like all
put
the
2 and 2 together? Huh?
Like all the outbreaks, even when they're talking about there's bird flu here, there's avian flu here. I want to say, when was the last time you did something to your crop?
Well, have you guys heard? I mean, now that I'm doing cardio in the morning, the news is on. I see Trump every morning, but then measles outbreak in Texas. Yeah, I know. Actually, that's how I keep up with it. But yeah, now the measles outbreak in Texas is deadly, guys.
There's a whole episode from the Brady Bunch talking about the measles. Yeah, she's a little sick, but she'll get over it. It's nothing serious, and it's not nothing serious.
I feel like there's a meme somewhere that it's like, or like a GIF somewhere that it's like somebody asking me if I'm on my period, and it's Trump saying, "Don't tell me how to feel."
Didn't this one guy go viral for like saying endometriosis is a thing that women are making up so we can make an excuse for having our period? or like something to that extent. And the whole fucking internet, like he lost his contract with whatever podcasting company he was with. I mean, all the women came at him because endometriosis is no fucking joke. Like, it is serious shit, and they're just taking it like, no, it's not real. It's women made it. It's a psyop.
No,
How
it's a
are
vax injury.
men speaking on this?
That's what I think, Abbie. I think everything is.
What?
Everything. You name it.
It's a vax injury.
I think people have been shamed about SIDS. I think people have been shamed about SADS. I think they've been shamed about sexually transmitted diseases. I think they've been shamed about autism, retardation, blindness, deafness, whatever. You pick the thing. They've been shamed about it, and it's all vaccine injury. That's what I really think.
Yeah. It is.
Or slow poisoning from the outside reaction with your said vax injury.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in genetic, like they might have, if they figure out a way to make you have genetic poisoning, like that's their whole goal.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what, I mean, honestly, the science is telling us that pretty much everything that ever happens to you is only 20% genetic. Everything else is epigenetic. That means that it's environmental. It gets switched on because of something in your environment.
Yeah. And it started with 7 routine jabs for your entire life to 72 by the time you're 18. That's fucking wild to me. 72 shots for you to be considered healthy for this petrol system. Yeah.
And
One
where
for
is
each
more?
virgin.
Where more? What country gets more than us?
I don't fucking know.
That's what
Maybe
makes me
Israel?
crazy. Like, are
I would
Americans the
assume
healthiest?
like Africa or something.
That's
where
what
they
I was
go and
thinking.
they
Africa,
just
somewhere
test
where we
it all.
send it,
Let me find out.
where the
Yeah.
World Health Organization probably wouldn't it be? It wouldn't surprise me if it was South Africa, where the freaking AIDS epidemic has been.
Yeah, but it seems like they have to get in third world vaccines into them. So they can't
Yeah.
necessarily give them the whole rung of the full 70 that they'd like to. So they
True.
just have to get them where they can. So they're like, here's Zika virus, dengue fever, like they're like, here's all these things. Malaria, we're going to like push all these crazy things.
United States is number 1.
That's
Then
what I think.
Australia, then Italy, then Canada and UK, and then China.
Australia, Italy, Canada, like those are like some of the biggest
That's what I
affected
think.
areas from COVID, allegedly,
That's crazy.
or like the biggest lockdown areas.
If you've been hanging out, you guys, we're getting close. I even like how right before we went on air tonight, I was watching all the news, and I watched some of the like conservative news today because I had to watch Zelensky go and act on Brett Baier and do this whole part of the movie too afterward. And then I had to flip over and see how the other media was going to melt down. And it felt like right before I came on air that they were like, oh, they really were like said this in the news that, and it made me kind of like, oh, how descriptive and horrible. Why would they say that? They said, oh, the Pope vomited and choked on it, but everything's okay now. He was like awake the whole time. So I'm like, he aspirated on his own vomit, and you're like telling us that on the news, like a detailed, it seems weird. Like
that
we
seems
never
like a
get
HIPAA violation.
Can I just read schedules that we put into our bodies, the type of diseases that we purposely put into our bodies? Hepatitis B, rotavirus, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hemophilia, influenza type B, pneumococcal conjugate, polio,
Pneumococcal conjugate,
influenza,
yeah.
measles, mumps, rubella, varicella, chickenpox, and hepatitis A. And you're taking so many doses of these fucking things. So smart.
That sounds like the ingredients in the back of a Pop-Tart.
For real.
Or if you started it with eye of newt and a whisker from a kitten, people would be like, witch!
Little dash of monkeypox in there.
Ew. But
dude, when people come at me with that schmutz, when people are like, do you want some of this schmutz? Whatever the like sticky schmutz is, clear sticky schmutz that people, I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I would rather hold a stranger's dick and eat than put that sticky schmutz on my hand. Like, I'm good. Thank you. These 2 little digits got me.
Wait,
I'm good. I'm good.
What is sticky schmutz?
The fucking antibacterial sticky
Oh,
schmutz
hand
that everybody
sanitizer?
has some
Yeah, I
idea
hate
that
it.
it like does something. All it does is make their
Poison.
hands tactile so every little hair and fiber can stick to their sticky schmutz hands. Like, I don't know. I think the entire thing. I'm like, if you have rubbing alcohol in there straight, I'll squirt some of that on me. But
Yeah.
otherwise, get that sticky Bed and Bath and Beyond away.
I agree.
Sticky
And it's
schmutz.
poisonous for you, by the way. That stuff is horrible for you. Antibacterial squirting sticky schmutz.
They did. They made sticky schmutz PPE.
Well, they even what's it called? They even made antibacterial soap illegal for a while. Do you guys remember that? That was just a few years ago.
Yeah, and that's the best
It's
soap
back
to be.
now.
It's actually really good for you. Antibacterial soap.
Well, it just depends. I mean,
I'm so
really,
old.
you can wash your hands for 30 seconds and it'll
The
kill the
doctor
bacteria.
soap. How they wash their hands is antibacterial soap.
Well, no, they use alcohol-based soap. It's totally different.
Remember, like the Exxon Valdez was just cleaned up with Dawn, and then that was how the whole thing was cleaned, as far as I knew. But then the other in the Gulf of America, all of the Halliburton is what cleaned the oil spill there. And I saw an ad come across my some feed, and it is like, here is jobs, this amount of training in the Gulf of America, in Trump's America, all the oil rigs are going to need all this work, underwater welder. And granted, and I am a part of some of like welding stuff, but it was like this education for underwater welders or weld inspectors, like they're going to need all these jobs. And I'm like, this is a curious like push for jobs, like welding oil rigs in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico or America. Like, I don't know. Not that it's not already there. I was just hoping, like, isn't there other places to drill? So you guys don't leak it all into the ocean, whatever that was. Drill, baby, drill, until they give me my 20%. And I'll be like, start another rig. What's going on, Layla? Oh, I thought you were into you were researching some other thing.
Oh, I was searching the antibacterial soaps that doctors use, and they use 3 kinds. Alcohol-based surgical rubs, providone, iodine, and I like that. Iodine is like really good. And then I can't even pronounce that, glycinate, antibacterial or alcohol-based hand rub. The different types of soaps.
Yeah,
remember around that same time, all of the different sort of like alcohol stills and breweries were shutting down and then converting all of their product into hand sanitizer.
Oh my gosh, there was gallons of it. Like the school got gallons of it. Every daycare, because I knew a couple people who ran daycares, would get and nobody used it. Like I didn't push it on my students, and none of my students would use it anyway because it smelled so bad.
Nasty. Ugh.
It's so gross.
Yeah, your hands smell like that for hours. Like for hours, you can't get it off.
Yeah,
I remember in, I don't know, it was like middle school or high school, one of the schools that I'd gone to, all of the freaking soap in the whole school smelled like beer. Like if you washed your hands with it, you would just smell like beer for the rest of the day.
I read
the soap in Disneyland smells really good.
I read that there was this king, I forgot what his name was. I think he washed twice in his entire lifetime, I think up till the age of 72. And the belief behind that was our skin is an organ and the pores are porous when they're clean and are susceptible to all types of bacteria and organisms and disease to enter your body easily. So the idea of keeping your pores clogged and dirty, keep your body healthier in a sense, so you don't catch disease easy.
So blackheads are good for you, y'all.
Yeah,
Well, no.
Kind of makes sense though. A
Well,
little
if
bit.
you were, I always
Yeah.
wonder, I always watch these survival shows, and every single one of these survival shows, I always watch the contestants get tore the fuck up with bugs. But if you picked a native from any of these places, they would cover themselves in mud.
I
And
would
so
be covered in
bugs
mud.
wouldn't
Yeah.
bite them. And so it's just like there is some level of like even rich ladies, they pay all this money to go get these mud baths because there is some level of, even if you go like to certain islands or certain South America or Mexican places, there's like natural springs where this mud exists, and the way it cakes on you is so different that you could just put it all over your body and then walk out and you would look like a terracotta person.
I got stopped in the grocery store by this Native American man, and it was when my son was a baby. And he goes, I need to tell you something. He said, you need to walk around your house. He goes, 3 times in a clockwise circle. Or he might have said counterclockwise. That's the part I couldn't remember.
Uh-oh.
He goes, then he's like, when you get to the north side of your house after the 3rd time, he's like, you need to take some mud. He's like, and you kick it all the way up your arms. And you leave it on until it dries and it cracks, and then you can take it off. It's like, for your son, he's like, since he's little and he sticks his hands in his mouth, you're going to want to do his legs. He's like, you'll never, ever, ever get sick. He just randomly told me this, like never spoke to me before, never saw this man ever in my life. And he just was like, hey, I need to tell you this.
You know what? I seen a video recently. I forgot what part of Africa it was, but this man was there and he picked up different parts of dirt and he does a swatch on the guy's hand, on the white man's hand, on his arm. And I mean, the different colors of fucking clay that he had in just that little area. I'm like, what area is this? And I was trying to find it and it fucking like, scrolled away and I couldn't find the video again. I just want to know where that area is, since the idea of like humans are made of clay and the different types of colors that we exist. Maybe that's an actual place of research or rabbit hole we should go down. I just want to know where that is.
You guys, I
the
went
different
real quick.
clays.
I will shout out. I just saw Level Plains Productions. Jay Jeremy said on his recent show that in ancient times they would bury someone up to their heads in mud to cure something that they feel was incurable or something they couldn't fix, and it worked. And I just have to tell everyone, I don't know if it's the same exact episode, but the last Jay Dreamers episode I watched, it was all about Rupa Negra. And I was like, oh my gosh, I even had to write to him afterward. I had to text him and be like, dude, you have to, we are obsessed with this, like the North Pole and everything. We talk about it all the time. Please come and plasma apocalypse us about Hollow Earth and all this shit about, like, he talked about the 4 islands around it and then being positive and negative, and then like one of them he calls the vampires, and one of them, like the 2 masculine sides, are like a vampiric side and then like a werewolf side that's like all hairy, Bigfoot, Yetis, Sasquatch kind of things. But it's like him going into all of it is super interesting. That I definitely futz with some of Jay's philosophies. So shout out to Jay Dreamers. Come and hang out with us, any secret society of good guys, or what we're planning for Wednesday nights. It might be fun. That we're really gonna do, you guys.
And Zerdis is supposed to be here next Friday. That's the rumblings on the street, at least.
All right.
Who's that?
I don't know if you know him, Andreas. I do a show with him on Tuesdays called Sink Tank.
Oh wow.
But it'll be an interesting one.
Okay.
He's super
He was
smart.
on that episode with Pidgey Mudge.
Yeah, he was. He was he was one of the dudes on, not the guy wearing the tinfoil hat, but the other dude on with Pudgy Mudge that was kept trying to get control again of the conversation that went off the rails. That was
who's Bougie Mouge?
Layla, who's Pudgy Mudge? Who's that?
Dr. Whatever.
Oh,
Narco Longo.
Okay. Pudgy Mudge.
Yeah. That's how I remember him now.
I mean, that's his nickname.
It is.
To him, he deserved it, rightfully so. Like,
what is a Pudgy Mudge?
Like a little fucking scrawny little piece of shit, like a little fucking I'll step on you, like a little cockroach, like
What
a little
language is
Pidgey
that
Mudge,
from?
little small little thing. You.
Look at how much like weird Yenta type
Is it like
slang.
Yiddish?
Yeah, Yiddish Yenta slang that's come out tonight on the show. You got some sticky schmutz on your face? Like you pudgy mudge. Come over here, you little pudgy mudge. You got some schmutz on your face. What else? Oh, I hung out too on Mondays. You guys should all check it out if you haven't already with Thomas and Heidi on Mormon Mondays. And that was mind blowing too, that I'm like, Heidi has to come back and get. I felt like toward the last end of the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, all these new topics and Atlantis. And I'm like, yes, come blow our minds and get extra weird on Secret Society.
And it sounds like the next episode's going to get into something that I didn't even realize, but that the Mormons had their own satanic panic in the 80s and 90s. Like the whole country had satanic panic, but the Mormons had their own version of that with their own daycare centers being accused. Like they had their own version of like a McMartin preschool sort of thing. Oh, so it's a whole like sub-satanic panic that I didn't even know about.
A whole Mormon satanic panic.
Listen to what
but
you're
I just
uncovering.
think the more I find out about the Joseph Smith and Brigham Young separation, I am like, it's really mind blowing to me, especially and the witch burning, like how close Brigham Young was to that. And then he goes out and we find like he's just this cowboy, slaughters these natives. But what does he take? Almost in this relic hunt way. Like he's almost in a relic hunt, like a magic relic hunt that we don't even know about. And then he gets murdered or whatever, he dies. And then Joseph Smith takes all of the mysticism out of it and it becomes a whole nother thing.
The other way around, but yes, it was.
That's what.
The Joseph Smith fucks around and finds out and gets thrown out of a window. But essentially, he gets shot in close range and pushed out of a window. And then Brigham Young comes, and he's the one that I would say he suppresses the magic. I don't think he took it out. I think that he made it only if you got to a certain level, then you were allowed to talk about the magic stuff because he had like a bloodstone amulet that he wore all the time, that Brigham Young wore. But there's very little pictures of him wearing it because part of the magic is that it had to touch your skin, that the symbols on it had to like go and touch your skin. And this is also part of the magic underwear stuff that what makes them magic is that they have symbols that are there to touch your skin and form some kind of magical protection barrier or whatever. And it was only over so much time of that being suppressed to only be told to like the elders or the people that went through the degrees that eventually people start forgetting it entirely and it loses a lot of its meaning and its origins. So it went from being kind of suppressed to misunderstood to where it's at now.
The bloodletting.
Yeah, I think the McMartin thing. Well, what did it say? McMartin thing was fake. I don't believe him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look into, I know this is controversial area, but this is where the false memory syndrome and false memory foundation stuff all comes from. But if you look at some of the actual claims that were being made by these kids in the McMartin preschool trials, like I'm gonna make some up. I mean, we can pull some up. I'm gonna make some up. But there were kids that were like, and then I turned into a dinosaur, and then they brought me in a tunnel, and we came out, and it was in Paris. And then, you know, someone did something bad to me in Paris, and then we went back in the tunnel, and then we were in Disney World. And granted, they could have been just like drugging these kids and bringing them around the world, and they claiming they were going on private jets and going and seeing presidents and stuff. But it's also pretty valid because the way that false memory syndrome happened, if you see the actual court documents and any of the recordings, that they would basically go to these kids, and there was a good HBO special, I think, called the McMartin Preschool or something. But HBO did a decent job on it. But that they would have these sort of child psychologists, and they'd be like, show us on the doll, you know, where that's where the meme comes from. Show us on the doll where they touched you. And a kid would be like, they didn't. And the psychologist would be like, oh, well, all your friends said that something happened. Are you sure nothing happened? You know what I mean? Like they almost coax them into it, and then once they point at a place on the doll, everyone claps. Oh my God, you're doing such a great job. You're such a brave. So it kind of like reinforces this bias that like, tell us some crazy shit, kid. Tell us that
like a
that
positive
they
reinforcement.
showed you a goat slaughtered, and that you saw like a naked old lady. And the more they would say that, the more time they would get to spend. And it was almost like this weird positive reinforcement. Like it was not done correctly. So if there is a conspiracy with the McMartin and all the other satanic panic false memory stuff, I would almost say that the false memory people were in on it. Like they were there to plant and Grimace was there, and Ronald McDonald
and to
was
like
there.
murky it up the truth.
Because this is so crazy, right? I randomly in like 2003 or 4, I think, I went to Amsterdam with one of my friends, and we went into I think it was DNA Labs. They're the ones that made like a whole bunch of like Chocolope and like Alien Mean Green and Martian Mean Green, like all these really coveted strains. And I go in there, and it's the guys that actually grow the seeds. And anyways, long story short, we start talking about conspiracy theories and like MK Ultra, and and there wasn't a lot of documentaries about MK Ultra, Project Monarch in the early 2000s. And the guy starts telling me, I won't mention any names, but he was like, bro, like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I guess no one ever talks about these topics. And they were super high because they were in Amsterdam, and they owned their own dispensary. But that when he was a kid, that like some messed up McMartin preschool style stuff happened. Like he said that him personally, and that there were people that dressed up like Ronald McDonald and dressed up like a spaceman and did all these weird things for that explicit reason, that if you would try and go and tell someone, hey, here's what's going on at home,
crazy.
McDonald's there, Grimace is there. Yeah, it's like, okay, this kid's just making stuff up. That said, though, the McMartin preschool stuff, like they basically described having a Stargate portal that could teleport you all across the country, and that the president's flying these if the president wants to source their own 3 or 4-year-olds, they don't have to go all the way to the McMartin preschool in order to do that. They could probably just call up the presidential Uber Eats and just like hit the check marks, and they're delivered to the White House.
I think it's also
like a hot dog party.
yeah, well, I also want to say about Jamie Kennedy too. He feels Whitney Cummings to me. It's funny the show's called Influencer tonight, influencers, because it's also like influenza. It's such a like a closed word of like what will go viral. It's like everything's kind of these same words that they're trying to mix in with it. And I just think Jamie Kennedy, I akin to a Whitney Cummings, where they're the next level of Hollywood. They're not the people that got the binders. They're the people that are still allowed at the Comedy Store and on Joe Rogan, but they're saying the shit that like now they're allowed to say this certain floor of what we're saying. Like maybe they're allowed to say 9/11's an inside job in Kennedy because those papers are coming out soon. But there's still this world they dance in that's like Hollywood. So Jamie Kennedy is one of those people to me that he just doesn't read right. Like he feels like a little too MTV. Like the same as Whitney Cummings. Like
So
you don't
funny.
become best friends with Chelsea Handler for free. You don't get a
Yeah.
show on network for free. You don't become a writer at all these places for free in Hollywood. Like you work your way up into certain things and like get power in Hollywood. And there was a time, it's not now that Jamie Kennedy has power, but there was a time he was rolling. Like there was a time he had a show on Fox, his own show, like, up there with Chappelle or up there with Ben Stiller, who he posted out a nice Ukraine flag today. Like Hollywood on the mark. All of Hollywood, get on cue. We're about to push Ukraine.
It's also fun. I mean, Jamie Kennedy being the topic, you go on YouTube and just search for Jamie Kennedy's live New Year's Eve party, and it was like one of the very first live stream MTV kind of situations, and it's just an absolute mess. Every other statement from someone's like, "Is this mic on? Are we recording?" People are dropping F-bombs. People are doing like all kinds of horrible things on TV. I'm sure someone got fired over it, but it's one of the funniest things to put on.
Those live, one of my favorite things still, if you can find it somewhere, there was a time that Courtney Love took over MTV for 24 Hours of Love. And she was just like, we just watched Courtney Love go on a manic depressive episode and stay up for 24 hours. And so somewhere there's got to be somebody that clipped it and took all the music videos out, and it's just Courtney, all of the spots in between, that it was like, whoa.
Dude, a lot of that stuff, man, unless you recorded it, a lot of it's been lost to time to never be released again.
If that exists anywhere, hit me up, send me a DM or tag me in it on YouTube. And because I just feel like Courtney Love's next level CIA, like whatever she's up to. I think there's shadow governments playing chess, like where it's like somebody, you know, like somebody had a Templar tattoo. It's almost like these tattoos, if you think of biker gangs or Bloods and Crips, that's what it feels like. It's not because necessarily where people just think good guy, bad guy. It's like there's different factions of mafia and they're all just like playing chess over. That's even what I feel like this binder is. Somebody somewhere, like if you were ever on tape or at a Diddy party or went to Epstein Island or got a little too drunk, you're like, fuck, I hope there wasn't a video of me at that fucking Obama party. Like, or like, shit, what did I fucking do? So when they're like, when Pam Bondi is like, lines everybody up, we're gonna do this thing, we're like, what the fuck? But there's some people out there that were like, oh shit. And so then it's like, what do they do on the defense? That's what sometimes I think people don't think about. Like if we were in an MMA fight, you might watch the fight for the first 2 minutes and be like, what was Chaney doing with all the like head movement in that right? She didn't even come close to landing to Abbie. But no, eventually I got a reaction out of Abbie. And now I know if I come close enough, she's always going to block with this whole thing. So now I know if I give her that reaction on this time and then kick her in the gut, her arm's going to be up and she's going to have all of her energy into her arm to block the punch she thinks is coming to her face that I have no intention of throwing. And so sometimes I feel like that kind of shit, let's set up a couple of these, you know, grifters online that have been doing this shit forever and doing whatever algorithm they're pushing for the next level of the thing. And we'll give them the binder. They'll all come out. If any four of us thumb through that binder for a few minutes, we'd be like, wait. I already seen this. Like, this is just, I lost an account for this information. Like, this is literally nothing new. This isn't even Hunter Biden laptop good. So it's just like, but there were people that were like Tom Hanks. I got to think he did not sleep. Like, I got to think Oprah was like, oh shit, Gail, I swore I'd never let Harpo hit me. Like, I gotta think there were some people that did not have the reaction that, like, we were all like, what the fuck? And they were like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I gotta get out of the United States. So I don't know. Like, maybe it was just to make a reaction, to make some people run or make some people come on and say some shit. Like, maybe just a leverage point. I don't know. Because it was bullshit. I just can't imagine, like, and to come out and all have the same statement. And then what on earth, like, what, like, will you guys give us a dance? What made you do that? Can you guys all hold your pretty folders that we're pretending we printed out for you? It's like the vaccines. Like, y'all, they just had all them vaccines ready to go. They just have that pretty little design ready to go. Even on the fly, that would take me and Thomas a minute. You're muted.
I was saying it was like by the time they announced the vaccines, then they were like, and if you look under your chair, like it was already there waiting for you.
Yeah, that's what I feel about it.
And you get a car.
That's
I don't know why I said that.
I was just thinking that.
Were you? I was like, I don't know why I said that.
It was like, here's this pretty little perfect thing. Like, even if we were just throwing graphics together fast, I'm like, I bet you it took me longer to make the thumbnail and get the FBI logo just right over the unicorns that Jesse Spano is holding than it took them to do this. Oh shit, it's so funny. I had to have it. I'm like, they got binders and it wasn't a Anne Frank Trapper Keeper. Well, we can change that with a little meme magic. Whoop! And this will help us kill the Pope.
So speaking of influencers, I don't know if you guys have seen like that Sam Sulek guy. He's this gym rat, but he is clearly on a whole bunch of steroids, but he's got like long curly hair and he always wears a hat, and he's always been controversial because he's not even a bodybuilder, and he eats like junk food and all that stuff. But he went to the Arnold Amateur yesterday, and the Arnold's and the Olympia Amateur are the only two like pro qualifier shows that you don't have to qualify to go to. Anybody can just compete. But he went yesterday, and I didn't even recognize him when he went on stage. I watched he was competing classic physique, which is when they wear the little black underwear, and he had his hair all like short and straight, and I was like, I knew he was the winner just by looking at him, but it was that freaking guy. I was like, I had to look up who he was, Sam Sulek, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's that guy. I don't know if you guys seen him on Instagram?
No, but I'll look him up right now. How do I spell his last name?
Sam Sulek. You probably recognize him. I'd always seen him.
Oh, Gene Hackman came up. Why did that happen? Oh, I must have been in the wrong bar. Sam.
Yes, True World just said he's a using Jew's head with zits all over him. He's like very unattractive, but he looked really good on the stage. I was like nothing like what he.
I need a clear
like
picture to come up of him. Visit in weight unknown. Okay, here's like a picture of him. Bye. He is a motherfucking beast mode. Let me get back to you guys. Sorry, I was lost. It's this one.
Yeah, like that's what he normally looks like. So he's just like this ugly motherfucker.
But here's him on stage with his haircut.
Yeah, he looked good. I was like, oh my god, that guy's great. And then like to reconcile that it was the same person, I was like, holy shit. So yeah, he's the newest IFBB pro.
Is that Carrot Top?
That's what he looks like. He looks like Carrot Top.
Yeah,
like,
that's He's got a set of tits on him.
And a lot of bodybuilders are pissed. They're like, oh my gosh, he's an influencer. He's always eating bad food. He doesn't do things the right way. But motherfucker got his pro card. And I watched the show. He looked the best up there.
Well, you guys know about my algorithms, right? And how it just likes to show me things. I wasn't aware that Disney made a movie called Eyes in Outer Space. And it was made in 1959. And they had a clip of how it talks about cloud seeding in the clip. And I'm just like blown away. In 1959, they showed what chemtrails would be like, which is cloud seeding, which is weather control. It shows how it controls the the fucking hurricanes. And I'm just like, wow, Disney just shows us so much, and we think of it as like, oh, it's just imaginary stuff. No, it's stuff that they have plans for in the future that they already have the technology for, because they like to hide the technology from us. But yeah, well, it's fascinating.
Walt Disney, with the cooperation of the U.S. Department of Defense, uses music and animation to speculate on the use of space satellite technology with a coordinated defense network as a means to modify the weather. The great adventure behind the satellites, Eyes in Outer Space.
And they legit say cloud seeding. And I'm like, oh my God, how come no one's ever talked about this film? I've never heard about it until
Thomas. It
this
sounds
week.
Like we all have to hang out soon and do a show, a movie.
And watch it. We should watch it and then fucking talk about it.
Yeah, we can watch it on X.
We only did one of these movies on Occult Disney because only one of them was made into a feature-length film, and it was called Victory by Air Power, I think. But it was mostly about how you need to buy war bonds and how you need to save up or stop using your scrap metal so that the military can have it to buy planes to beat the Germans. But there's a lot more stuff that came afterwards, like that movie, that some of it was made for actual interior training. Like it wasn't made for the outside consumers to ever get their hands on it. So I would love to do some more of those.
And I think Epcot, the experimental prototype city of tomorrow, that was probably around the same time that Walt Disney was working with the defense. So somewhere like the same thing that with the Howard Hughes and the Mormons and them working with the Pentagon, I think there's a whole show on Disney and just their weird little NASA, Pentagon, Department of Defense, military, like where people are like, did you know this designer made the Nazi uniforms? And I'm like, that's nothing. Like that's literally nothing. I just think Disney probably made more propaganda than any other company.
Period. Because it's suitable for all ages.
It's so wild. Even I was thinking about Prescott Bush today. It was like a dig I went on, and I don't know why I never knew this before. That I was like, I have to do more research. And then I was like, I bet you we've learned about this on the Secret Society of Good Guys. And it is Operation. Well, one, I thought it was funny that when Mr. Bush was running for presidency, President Truman, Harry Hopkins, actually said in quotes, nobody knows Mr. Bush and he has a Chinaman's chance of winning. And so we always like the royal me. I always think the CIA is just C space I space A, so it's just China, and so it's just funny a Chinaman's chance. Like I always just think the Bush family and the entirety of the CIA, they're just like Mossad gathers information for Israel, and MI6 gathers information for the Crown, and CIA is China. Like, you know, that's why like the NSA is a separate little branch and the FBI is a separate little branch. But that was but then it was hold on. He did like some submarine thing that I was like, why don't I know anything about this? Polaris submarine. It was the Polaris submarine project. And it was when I looked into it, it was just to putting some weapon on a submarine. But now that we know everything about the submarines, it always seems like something to do with UFO or underwater, or they're like doing something in a trench that they have to get this war tip off this submarine. It's always a hunt for Red October that now they can do this whole little mission around something without telling any of us. And he was also that I did not know this about Prescott Bush. He was like huge, like one of the number one proponents of Planned Parenthood. So like one of the number one people that like he had some high up position for Planned Parenthood for a long time.
Because they were big in the eugenics. That was a whole eugenics program. The Bush.
I always knew about the Gates. I never knew about Prescott. And I always knew about the CIA connection with it. I was just like, oh my gosh, how did I not know all this other stuff about Prescott Bush today? But anyway.
Yeah, Prescott's other big things, he was involved in the Skull and Bones digging up Geronimo's grave and taking his head to bring it to the tomb at Yale. That was Prescott Bush involved in that. And it was also, I believe, the Harriman brothers, Bunny and I can't remember the other brother's name, and they were also members of Jekyll Island, and also Prescott worked with the Harriman brothers, I believe, in order to actually send money to Germany for World War II. So Prescott was massively instrumental in all of these different things. He was the one that also where Howard Hughes is the one that bankrolled Nixon's campaign. Prescott Bush is the one that set up all of the political milestones for Nixon. He's the one that kind of like became his political mentor in a way. So I think the Prescott Bush represents this Bush legacy that still exists today. Like we're not even really recovered yet. We're not even starting to recover, but like not all the way through 9/11 and the CIA and the Reagan assassination attempt, like all of this had been set in motion generations before we were born.
I felt this interesting, and do you guys think it's interesting? So this is the Secret Service flag. Doesn't it look just like the fucking Ukrainian flag?
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm so glad you think it's just as crazy.
Yo, so it only makes me think it's like that's the home of the CIA. Like that is where all of the shit starts for everything that happens with the CIA. That's probably the house of it.
Well, it looks like, and I mean, if I were just, you know, this is the Star of David with the Ukrainian flag. It's just like, oh, okay. So then it's just also if you think about Butler, Pennsylvania or something, and everybody's like, the Secret Service will keep the president safe. Why does Trump have his own private security? Because I don't want Ukraine protecting me.
Thank you.
I thought it was just weird, but maybe it's just a coincidence. I'm just a coincidence theorist. I'm so glad you thought that was weird too, Layla.
It is weird. Super weird. Nothing's a coincidence, though.
I don't think so either. I think it's just humorous.
What was that logo in the middle of the...
It looked like the dollar bill, like little weave.
Yeah, right?
See.
Sorry, I don't know why I just decided to think about the little logo.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go back and watch this show. Okay, hold on. Secret Service flag. Because I was just like in my stoned little 2 a.m. in the morning brain, which does make me think about why I'm looking this up. If you're finding us on any of the channels on Project Chaney or on Secret Society of Good Guys on YouTube, Rumble, or on X, thank you so much.
We love you.
We love you so much. And hit the bell and make sure you follow every single person on stage. And if you have any extra money to spend, you can go to paranoidamerican.com and get yourself some booty.
This weekend only too, I put all of the first issues of all my comics are 50% off, and I did that for like the big blackout where everyone's supposed to be boycotting big retailers. Well, even better than boycotting big retailers is to support small businesses and small independent creators. So yeah, until Monday, I'll probably switch it off on Monday.
I got that email. I was like, ooh, I should buy some comic books.
And yeah, you could get fun cards. Here, wait, while I'm here, before I go to the other screen, since we're talking about it and we're here. Neat. You can go to paranoidamerican.com and look at all this shit you can get, you guys. Like these conspiracy card packs. You can get one of Layla in there and me in there. Maybe the Tower Gang and Revenge of the Sis. I don't know what's going on.
And you guys know about this because I sent it to you. But I've been working on some Secret Society of Good Guys stickers, and I'm hoping for them to show up pretty soon. And I'll send those to all you guys, of course.
Yes, this one's awesome and popular. You can get your kids' birthdays coming up. Easter
that one
basket.
got review bombed on Amazon. Someone gave it like a 1-star.
Boo! Because they're like, that's not real. If you you can get yourself some Illuminati that's not for the kids. Brazzle Drip Funhouse.
Yeah, making things that are appropriate for kids is a new thing for me. I've got and they do well. They actually do phenomenal. It's so funny that like the adult stuff does well and the kid stuff does well.
Yeah, and look at all this fun stuff. If you want it to come soon, even this, don't you have something going on with this? You have stuff going in with this.
Oh, this one I'm just waiting. I got the update that it's on the boat. It's on the slow boat from China. Some of the actual prints, and they're making their way to us where I can pay Trump's new tariffs on it.
I know. Hopefully you don't have to pay it. You're like, hey, I ordered these beforehand. I have a date. Okay, now let me go back to the Secret Service logo. Brink. Because what is in the middle?
That does not look like a US. It looks...
Well, it's a filigree on the top of the U, and then on the bottom of the S, it looks like.
I know, it almost makes it look like a musical note or something, like a dollar sign mixed with something. Very curious. Not
It makes me look
USA.
like a J, almost though, a backwards J.
I just found out this week too. I can't remember what rabbit hole I was going down, but that the different prongs, the different sides of these stars actually mean different things. Like this one looks, I mean, because it's Secret Service, it almost looks like a sheriff star. But a lot of sheriff stars are 7-pointed stars, not 5-pointed. And whether it's 5-pointed or 7-pointed, each one of those points represents some specific aspect of the job.
Yeah. Oh, that was a noise. Uh-oh.
Is this Layla, say something.
Oh, Layla will probably go out for a second and then come back. Oh, she figured out a hack. She's such a hacker, you guys. Layla's a hacker. You know what makes me crazy? Like, these are little things that make me crazy. Speaking of influencers, there's some random person on X called Blue Anonymous with a check mark. Okay. And they're just a liberal person that also has an anonymous mask. Everybody acts like there's an official office in your hometown called anonymous.org and like then talks to this person as if they're the president of Anonymous. Like it almost like there's like you're missing something with the anonymous thing. I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy that it's people like Elon Musk have tweeted at this anonymous account. So it's like I don't know. It just feels like some things feel like Bernie mittens, where I'm like, why is everyone trying to force me to follow this Blue Anonymous account? Not that anyone's holding our feet to the fire, but
the whole Ingersoll Lockwood and
you're not coming through your mic.
Oh yeah.
Now.
Yeah, Layla, you're not on your mic.
Hello, no.
You're in your room, but it's fine. Whatever way. Oh, Thomas said this was going to happen.
He did. Thomas.
I predicted this.
He's such a wizard.
Ingersoll Lockwood. Can you hear me now?
This is part of the killing the Pope spell.
That's better.
So apparently they have hidden links in that website. I like to go in there from time to time. I've been doing it since 2020. And you go on that website and there's a whole timer on there, and I think it's 2 days and something hours now, or 3 days. I'm not sure.
You guys, it's not letting me share it. Like, do you see it flashing? Yeah. Like I'm resetting it and it's like, nope, you are not allowed.
Scroll down though, because sometimes the thing just
nothing's moving.
Oh fuck. That's so crazy.
It's like whatever. It's like if you're going to figure out the hacks, you're not allowed to share them with everyone else. It's like one of those things you have to have your phone to record the screen.
Yeah.
Because it's not letting me show you guys. Because I was going to show them while you talked. But go on.
But apparently you click on the link, or you click on the date or the timer on there, and it sends you to a QR code. So you scan that QR code and it sends you to this link. And this link asks you if you want to sign up so you can get direct text messages from either Trump or someone who is allowed to share information from that number. Or it could be an automated message from Trump. So there's a countdown and it links you to that. Once you get that phone number, you get special text messages from that number. Oh, this is perfect. And I don't know what's going on or what this countdown is referencing to, but it also had a link down below with a bunny rabbit with a cloud storm behind it, and it shared a link to a song about Donald Trump and this whole mission that is going on right now with Doge and everything. So yes, that's exactly what's going on. The storm is upon us. Yeah. So you get direct messages and it'll ask you questions about like, what is more important to you? A, the health of America, B, the Doge uncovering things, C, something else, and D, something else. I chose the health of America because that's more important to me, because when you have health, you have wealth. And I see if our country becomes healthy, we'll be more wealthy and a stronger country again. So, yeah, I think something will be sent to us, whoever signs up for that. It's just strange how Q is tied into that, how Donald Trump is tied into that, how Ingrosso Lockwood as an author and the books are all tied to that. It's just some interesting loop that we're going into over and over again till we figure it out. And I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out soon enough, huh?
You know how, like, I don't know. Do you think there's people in the normie norm world that whatever was released in the Epstein files, because it was done officially, they're like, even though everybody can be like, it's what's already out, we already know. It's like, but it wasn't done in a way that your grandma would believe Chaney.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, because it was done in the way that it was done, is it not for us? This maze isn't meant for you, Dolores.
That's true. We're at the frazzle drip extent of things. Face off, you know?
Yeah, like they got so many layers. Like if we're so mad, like if we're on a waiting for the normies, they can't learn it at our pace.
Yeah.
Like they can't find Thomas's book on adrenochrome. I'm like, we vaccine so much, let's just tempt. But it's like,
yeah.
Just
But
keep
then you
poking
show
the
them a
bear.
clip of Fear and Loathing, and oh my god, it's true. That's all you need to convince them is just show them the clip.
oh my gosh, there was a float at New Orleans that was a baby oil Diddy float.
A what?
Oh my
A
gosh.
baby oil Diddy float.
No way.
Yeah, I could probably find it on X and show you. We can watch together. That's the new, like, pictures or it's not real.
Wasn't Rihanna's husband not guilty recently also?
Oh, because sorry, I was thinking Fat Tuesday. I don't know about Rihanna's husband.
Yeah, he was just not guilty for whatever charges. I wasn't really into it. They kept it really like not in the limelight so much for some reason. But he was charged for something. Not sure what. Something big though.
Okay.
Baby oil Diddy float is my new password.
Baby oil Diddy float. Oh, good. I was like, please don't make this hard to find. I went to the real internet first, but it is so much easier to just put things in X search now, and people always have what I'm looking for. Okay. Oof. I don't want to hear it again. It's so loud. But they have like Diddy dressed as a baby. It's weird.
As you do.
Is it though? Is it weird?
I don't know. Yeah, Fat Tuesday. It's like, isn't Mardi Gras? It's like a whole little Dionysus festival. What is today, Layla?
March 1st.
Yeah, but in the Muslim world, like what is the month of March? Like what's the whole thing we're going into? Like for just like the run of the mill whiteys.
Okay.
Tell
Apparently
us what's happening.
the majority
in your
of
religion.
Muslims are celebrating Ramadan, and Ramadan is a time for fasting. I don't know anymore because
you can tell us with the glittery red pill of what it's supposed to be, and then you can tell us what.
Ramadan is a time for fasting, and it's a time for your devotion to God, and the gates of hell will be closed according to the hadiths. Okay, but from what my understanding, they go by the moon calendar during this time, and from what I understand, it's according to the hadiths that they are practicing this ritual, because that's what it is. It's a ritual. And the correct time to be celebrating Ramadan is at the time of Ramadan, which literally means the 9th month, which is September. okay, and which is the time of harvest. And it is the same as the earth. When the earth goes into almost like a fast, they go into a fast because that's the time when things are harvested and things start to die down or quiet or go to sleep. And they take a fast, and then it's the same fucking idea. But also that's what it explains what Ramadan means. It means literally the ninth month. And that's the time
Yeah.
when, in that time during Ramadan, which is the ninth month, is when Muhammad received revelation from the angel, I believe it was Gabriel. Yes, Gabriel. And yeah, so I don't know what the correct way, but if you want to go according to the Quran and understanding how important it is to have the lexicon and understand the root meaning of what these words mean, it's so important. That's how you can fully understand the Quran. But if you want to go by the hadiths and go against what the Quran says, you are literally following the moon. And that is forbidden according to the Quran. But y'all want to debate that, but
Isn't
it's
it? Here's what
okay.
gets extra crazy though. If it was really the ninth month, then it could potentially be November.
Yeah.
Because Nov is 9.
Yeah.
So it's like
And
somewhere they're doing like some, which
it's
would
during
also
the
be a harvest month,
equinox.
what you're saying. Like,
Well, also, don't you think that they did it now this time of year because of Lent? Because Lent is right now, like, starts on March 5th, so that's 40 days of fasting as well.
Well, it changes every month according to the hadiths and how they practice with the moon calendar.
Okay.
But another thing
But
that
they
they
kind
have
of
to
overlap
understand.
usually, though, don't they?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they do. And another thing, though, what people have to understand, especially in the Muslim community, is the type of fasting during Ramadan, actual ninth month of Ramadan. When you do it during that time, it's the time of the equinox, when people are experiencing the same amount of daylight and night at the same, around approximately the same time, which gives fair fasting to everyone on this realm. So
yeah,
when
'cause
you're
it's from
doing a
sun up to
fasting,
sundown, right?
yeah, so when you're doing fasting in like April or May, some people have to fast for like 23 hours out of the day, while some people in the planet get to fast maybe for 12 hours in the day. And that is so unfair. And God makes things fair for all of humanity according to the Quran. But we have the hadiths and they don't want to listen to what the Quran says, so they go with the hadiths and say, oh no, it's not complete, but it is complete. So yeah.
Isn't it kind of interesting though? Like just how we were talking about drugs. And sometimes I wonder if like certain drugs just have a built-in, like we were talking about different deities being built into the drug. Doesn't it something just, if a majority of the people with your blood, if we're all attached to the people that have our blood, and maybe we're all attached eventually by blood, but the people attached closest to that, they're all fasting. And you are getting this natural feeling in your life that has zero to do with religion, that you're like, y'all, I'm going to start fasting. Today has been a different day. And it, in a day, like if it starts like from the 29th of the night sunset to the 29th of the sunset on this day, it's kind of crazy that if a majority of the people with the blood closest to you, they're all fasting too. And you're just like, have nothing to do with it. I think I'm going to fast. It's almost like we're all taking this drug trip with the people that are closest in our thing regardless. Like, we still have these people
Yeah.
that are kind of on our close scripts too. Like, if people have simulation theory, they're like, there's only so many scripts.
Mhm.
Like, this is what me and my Marie always say. Like, too much of our life is too similar, except they were like, here, we'll just make this one a lesbian and we'll just make this one like a kind of goth lawyer over here and we'll separate, and everything else we'll just make the same. Like, it was really lazy because we were never supposed to meet. But that's how I kind of wonder. It's
Yeah.
like, look at, you're fasting for Ramadan, but you're not, but you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I get I guess intention matters too, but if you're following the moon, and we're not supposed to be doing that, you're supposed to like follow in according to the Quran what God tells you, not what Muhammad did in his life tells you, or what people who wrote 200 years after he died tells you, because that's what the hadiths are. So you're supposed to be following God. And then you have these Muslims who get so pissed off when you say, but you're following Muhammad and you're not supposed to be doing that, but you make fun of Christians for following Jesus. So what's the difference?
You almost want to be a Quran Puritan.
Yeah, and that's how it should be according
like you
to the
need to
Quran.
like if I were going to phrase it for you, I'm like, it's really just you're like a Puritan on this idea. You don't want a King James version of your shit.
No, I don't. I'm so traumatized by my own religion and what I was taught as a kid, and finding out as an adult, not being afraid to open the book and like actually reading it and understanding it. I'm just like, oh my God, I've been lied to my entire fucking life. Like, and men too, like there's no circumcision in this religion, but they want to follow what the pharaohs did to the slave race. Sure, go right ahead, continue that slave idea. But if you're talking about cleanliness, that makes no
I'm
fucking
so glad you brought
sense.
up the pharaohs.
Like, stop.
There's
Like, who
something
are you fooling?
similar with the pharaohs and whatever they were up to with eugenics and gathering and everything that we were talking about earlier that was brought up on Monday with Thomas with the Mormon show, where I didn't know the Mormons, they have like DNA banks. Like full DNA, full banks of people. Then
Genealogy
it made me
is a huge thing in Mormonism.
I had no idea. Like things were blowing my mind. And you know how everything's magic and a spell to me.
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh my gosh, if these motherfuckers are obsessed with DNA and all this stuff and probably eugenics and all the ways of like the super army and everything we talk about, then the magic underwear makes so much sense because of how much bodily fluid everything would be on it. So you have these sigils with all the bodily fluid that I could take any of that bodily fluid and take it into this DNA bank. And I'm trying to gather in my Mormon Salt Lake City. And if I were doing a spell, this is the other thing I was thinking about Salt Lake City. I would surround myself with salt. Like, it just seems like, look at these witches.
The other reason that theory actually would make sense if you kept fleshing it out is because, and this has been confirmed by ex-Mormons and current Mormons and pro-Mormons, that the magic underwear, they don't do like an anointing process. It's not like holy water where the priest has to like bless the water and now it's holy. The magic underwear are magic the second that they exist. Like it doesn't require any kind of blessing or anything special. And that would make sense if the person wearing it is the one that made it magical, so to speak.
Whoever said that he met Yeshua, that is not true. He's never met him. That's a lie. I don't know who said that. But the only thing that I could say about the Quran, if you really research the accuracy of the Quran versus all the other religions, the only thing a lot of
Layla, your sound went out, or did mine?
No, it was
okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking,
So
Crypto Alchemist.
Thing that they don't agree about is the house of Abraham, the Mecca being there, but it is there. Mecca is in Petra, where Abraham's temple is. It still stands today. The cave is there. The three daughters of Allah, the inscriptions of those daughters on the wall. There's so much history that they have erased, and they mention those three daughters, but in a different way than we talk about it. But there's a lot of accuracy, and you can even ask ChatGPT this. Like, it is the most accurate with facts and landmarks and everything that is mentioned, and scientifically too. So I'm not saying it's the correct way for anybody. I'm still like iffy on religion. I don't practice my own religion. I am studying it to understand it. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I can't fully believe something until I fully understand it, and I'm not there yet. So we'll see where it leads. You know?
Do you make your own Mormon magic underwear sigils?
Maybe we should all have magic sigil underwear.
Maybe I want more magic underwear.
Maybe we're not supposed to wear underwear.
I don't know.
I'm working on this.
I don't mind it.
Cool.
Commando, baby.
Is that gonna be in the Paranoid American
either.
store?
It will. I've got a couple that I'm working on. I don't know if it's gonna be underwear, but it's gonna have
Yeah, I don't want garments.
shirts
I don't want
that
the full
have
Mormon
the
garments, but I'll wear
symbols.
some.
Like, instead of you having to wear it under, because they started out as long johns, and then
Yeah.
they have now like an undershirt and boxers.
Yeah, like
But the
shorts.
shirt itself, it actually has the symbols, but they're printed on the inside, so they touch your skin and they're like secret. So I was thinking about just making that version of the magic underwear, magic undershirt, but just putting the symbols on the outside, like a normal graphic shirt would have them. And almost no one would know what the hell this was unless you walk by a Mormon, and then they would be like, because you're wearing
They'd be like, you're wearing your underwear on the
is, like,
outside.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny. I know. And they'd be like, ooh, it's so sexy. And on the back, it should be like, dial 1-800, ask me about my soak or something. It should have some other, like, there should just be Mormon shirts, something magic underwear, and something about a soak. Something a little soaking. I don't know. The Mormon
I didn't
religion
know about
is
soaking until you taught me that
fascinating
word.
to me. Like, fascinating. I don't understand how more people like the stuff that's going on. I'm like, oh my gosh. And once we started, and like, I love how Heidi's like Lumeria, Atlantis, bank, bank, bank. And I'm like, way to leave this at the end. And now I'm like, what? So I don't know. I think it's super interesting because even with Jay talking about Rupa Negra, I'm like, I wonder how all this comes into play with the Mormons.
I was at the time where that was called Mount Meru. I don't know why.
Maybe it's another one of the names for it.
Is it? I don't know. I always thought it was called Mount Meru. Meru. Am I bugging? Am I the only one?
Mount Meru.
Yeah. Is that what it's called, or is it what Chaney's saying?
I've heard Jay call it Mount Meru.
Mount Meru, right? Mount Meru.
Here.
Yeah, right? Okay, yeah. That's the same place. Okay.
Yeah. See how
Rupa
it
Negra?
says, see how it
Oh,
says
yeah.
Rupes. Yeah, it's just maybe another one of the places. Look at Black Rock.
Miru means Emir, the good place, the good mountain.
Miru. I don't know. I think it is so curious.
Or Miru, Moru.
Mira in Spanish means look.
Or the creation mountain.
Magnetic North. That is so interesting to me too. Just magnets in general. Just the whole idea of magnetic north. What is making everything do that?
How do they work?
I know. I'm like, who cares about anything else?
Right?
This is something that Descartes, in one of those weird esoteric books I read with Juan, but Descartes was describing how the universe was created with these like vortices and all. It gets very like mystical and magical. And then at one point, the guy he's talking to asks him about electromagnetism and about magnets, and Descartes basically tells him like that like your brain will explode if I even try and tell you how this works, because it's literally magic and demons combined. That's what magnetism is. And they don't even go into it. They actually leave it at that in the book. They're just like, we can't get into it. It'll make your head explode.
What are magnets made of? Is there like something inside the metal, or is it just a type of metal that they add electricity to, or how do they?
You have naturally occurring magnets, and then there's certain types of metal that you can magnetize using electromagnetism if you want to. But originally magnets were just a natural phenomenon that just came out of the ground.
What the fuck? This realm is so weird. This realm is
I'm like,
so
I need
bizarre.
to buy some magnets. Like that's where my head just went.
It's so weird. I'm
I
at
just got
awe
a cool
every day
LED
with
light
it.
that's magnetic.
So amazing.
Yeah, it looks like the exact same place. This is just the Asian or like the, the Eastern Hindu and Buddhist and cosmology. But when you look at what it is, blah, 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 it's the junction of the 4 great cosmetic continents, which is this exact same thing, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think it
Looks
would
like
be.
it to me. I think all the cultures knew that that place existed.
I think so too. I think everything would be trying to mimic that thing.
Star forts?
Influenced by itself, arrival of Buddhism in China. Well, even, I mean, if you look at kind of the way that all the ancient cultures, like look at ancient Muslim cultures, look at ancient Abrahamic cultures of all of them, look at ancient Buddhist cultures, like they all have this similar look of garb. Like they're trying to mimic something and,
Almost like a jug with a lid on it.
I don't know. That looks pretty though. And like it kind of gives a more of a description where maybe they have the oldest art left of the place that actually existed. I don't know. I like it.
It's bizarre. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. I just think everything about that mountain would be, if it was the entrance to anything above, it was the entrance to anything below. Like if it was a petrified tree, we were talking about Petra earlier, like imagine if it was like a life tree, but then Jay was talking about it like 2 pillars, where even everything where people are like pillars, pillars, pillars. He's like, no, there's 2 pillars that actually shoot up out of the water. Like the way he was describing it was just making me think of like the Never Ending Story, when he's like running, he has to run through each of the 2 towers as they're like, if he's worthy enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
You call them towers, and I just see the freaking big old titties.
Well, you know what's so crazy? I did a whole like I was researching an artist like Bajoria, but whatever. She's the one. Let me think of. The hysteria that everyone calls out the Podestas for having. That also that serial killer would pose his victims in that way. So it's like that arc pose.
Yeah, Dahmer, and the art pose was from that lady Louise Bourgeois.
Bajoria.
Yeah,
yeah.
And she's the one that made those sculptures, and those sculptures that were collected by the Podestas.
Okay, like I did a whole art thing on her. I don't even know how long back. It was like one of my TikToks that got taken down. But hold on,
That one's crazy because she was married. I can't remember the guy's name. She was married to the guy that ran the Museum of Modern Art, specifically the Rockefeller wing, and that wing was dedicated to Michael Rockefeller, the guy that got eaten by cannibals, and they had a whole bunch of like cannibal art and stuff in this wing. So what are the chances that the lady that makes artwork that gets claimed to be, based on this cannibal's work also helps run the cannibal wing of the Modern Art Museum by the Rockefellers? Like it's like a weird bizarro world for all those things to be connected.
So that's some of her art. Then also, let me see if I can grab this real quick.
It just seems like if it's part of your legacy, though, you probably lean in. I don't know.
This reminds me of that art that Balenciaga's Selma Hayek's husband creates, and it's like very like pedophile, like with kids and
sex toys, those sex
body
toys?
parts, and
Is that what
it's
that
just.
Well, I had to find this other thing to show you guys too. Is look at this because of what Abbie was talking about. This is some of her other art.
So crazy.
Isn't it so creepy?
Titties. Yep. Oh my gosh.
What's crazy, a lot of their art also has a McDonald's symbolism in that art that I was talking about. A lot of the McDonald's logo in it. Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
Because they're into the Marantha stuff. Is that what it is, Marantha? I had a friend who read one of the books, and it really is pretty good stuff, actually.
Wasn't there a clip of
I don't know about the
someone
cult of it all though.
like eating like raw meat, like cannibalistic style, like in this like old like I guess old English outfit, like time period outfit, and she's just sitting there eating like flesh, raw flesh.
Well, here's another one. Like, since we were on her, I feel like now that we're here, because everyone got lost in all this stuff. And one of the creepy things I think about the Podestas that nobody knows about is because everybody talks about Chester being the son of a Podesta, but one of the people who actually is a son of Podesta is Alex Podesta, and he's an artist. And this is all his fucking art. And tell me this isn't
How is this art?
Like this shit that he has is so creepy, y'all.
There's like probably like children in that yellow box.
Yeah, like he's showing like it's like all this like creepy kind of like
drug children just in there. Hi, buy my art. Here you go. Enjoy. Fucking sickos, bro.
yeah.
Ew.
I think
The
it's
bunny
so,
rabbits. Always
yeah.
the bunny rabbit.
Grown men in little bunny rabbit outfits.
Brittany just posted a bunny rabbit the other day.
Are they playing with a coral snake there?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know. Isn't it so creepy? Like, look at this.
I swear, I feel like people are on two separate algorithms. Love celebrities and hate celebrities. There's like one or the other. I hate them all.
It's just all creepy shit. I think everybody should look into the artist behind the Podesta art collection, because usually the Podestas don't have the creepiest shit. I'm going to tell you, because it was one of the things that like all my first TikToks that I got taken down was just that I researched all these artists and I'll try to go through my terabytes and throw up some of the videos. They're just kind of lazy now looking at it, but it took me a lot of time back then to put it all together. Now you could probably just be like, hey, Grok, will you pull up some art from this person? It'll probably just list you out a whole bunch of the shit and it's all nice and easy. But it took some time to figure out who the collectors are, who these artists are, where they were showing, what kind of shit. And it is creepy motherfucking stuff. That it's just, and it all leans to this way that you're like, why does this feel like this is some way they torture kids / get off and there's some kind of creepy ritual way? Like, I don't know. If you were walking and you saw that dog with tits chasing you, that would be a thing nightmares for you.
God, seriously.
For some people. For some people. I wonder if Gene Hackman's dog had tits.
Maybe. I want to know the dog's name.
I mean, we think it's for adrenochrome, but I mean, it could also mean other things that we don't know and are aware of. The bunny rabbit.
He's 1,000-year-old. I think there is definitely some kind of ritual. I've seen celebrity ladies give this to like, oh, you're having a grandkid? Here's a stuffed animal. It's always a fucking stuffed animal of a rabbit.
A bunny.
Yeah. I don't know what I think. It's like almost like I think, and this is how dark I think it is, your kid is going to have to play the game too. Like whatever the most deadly game is, like where they put you on an island and you have to run for your life. Run, little rabbit. I feel like whatever that is happens to you, your kid too. Whatever that trauma is of breaking you, that's part of it.
Look how early they want to MK Ultra the child. Hey, here's a little bunny rabbit for your newborn baby.
I mean, if you go into the really, really dark MK Ultra Project Monarch stuff, the way that you would really start out programming someone from birth, it actually begins with an amniocentesis needle. Like when the baby is still in utero, they have like this certain needle that usually takes the amniotic fluid. But according to this, the crazy like Fritz Springmeier Project Monarch research, they use that that moment in time to actually poke and prod at the little fetus, because now you've controlled the first moment of trauma from this external source. Usually it's just being born into the world. That's the first big trauma. but this is a way to just tell the fetus before it even goes out into the new real world, like,
It's
hey,
gonna hurt.
there's a force out here that's like here to hurt you.
And that's like the amnio. I mean, what they do it for geriatric pregnancies, right? Like that's the sole purpose is to determine whether or not the child has like Down syndrome. But like, here's the thing: if you're not gonna abort a baby because it has Down syndrome, does it fucking matter? Why would you even have to do that test?
This cannot be the same dog, you guys, but this is what came up.
I was just looking that up.
As revealed by Animal Rescue Inc., while the actor was filming The Replacements in 1999, 2 stray German Shepherds wandered onto the set and both were transported to Animal Rescue Inc. The Hackmans eventually adopted one of them and named him Gene.
Shut yeah, I didn't see the name, but I just saw that he had rescued a dog.
You know who else had German Shepherds that were in the news last? 2 German Shepherds that we heard about biting Secret Service. It's just funny because we happen to be looking at Secret Service. And so 2 German Shepherds biting Secret Service. It was Biden's 2 dogs. And I think their name were like General and Sergeant or some shit.
Is the Pope still alive? Wink, wink.
What happened to Gene Hackman's other dogs? People are to give a fuck about Gene Hackman. Like the most searched thing. They're like, but what happened to his dogs? It's like we didn't care at all what Vivica Fox running down the tunnel on Independence Day till that golden retriever was running next to her. We were like, you better run, bitch. Run, bitch. 1 dead and 2 surviving. Many are concerned about Gene Hackman's dogs and what happened to them. 95-year-old winning actor, his 65-year-old wife Betsy were found dead on Wednesday, reported in Newsweek. One of the couple's dogs was also found dead. Their 2 other dogs are found alive on the premises, and what we know of Hackman's dogs were the kind of dogs they are, blah, 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 blah. German Shepherds. The dog that passed away was a German Shepherd and was found 10 to 15 feet away from the lady who was found lying on her side on the bathroom floor. The dog was found dead in its crate or kennel as noted. And the kennel was found in a closet of the bathroom, according. Not much is known about. There's 2 surviving dogs that not much people. I know the poor dog literally died of dehydration. Probably.
Poor baby.
I mean, I imagine. Like, what a horrible death.
Yeah.
But it's still unclear how the pet died. That's the weird part. Like, why would it be unclear? Because she was mummified.
Yeah.
But if this kind of weird shit, I don't know. Like, they don't go if they're all. Layla was saying something about the sheiks or the pharaohs. Like, maybe they don't do things. They're like, nope, we're going to take some cats into the tomb with us. Thanks.
Yeah, it's not the dogs.
My mom said that to me once. I was like, Mom, she has like an old lady dog. I'm like, Ma, if you, like, she's like, I want to get another dog. And she did. And I'm like, Ma, like, think about it. Like, you could get a dog. I almost feel like there could be a service that has just old people dogs that they kind of lease. And then when they pass away, the dog goes back to another old person. And it's just like this like rotating thing because, and my mom is like, well, it's okay. You could just put my dog to sleep and put it in the cat, like put it in there. And I was like, Mom, I'm not going to put a perfectly healthy dog to sleep because you die.
He has 14 fucking kids.
Who?
Elon?
Yeah.
A bunch.
Damn.
Yeah, I think he just had another one to like 2 this week. No, one. He had another one today, I think, or named one today. It feels like he had 2 this week and then got in a fight with a different baby mama.
They're like Pokemon to him.
I mean, if I were a man and all I had to do was just like pop, 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 I'd do it too.
Especially if you don't, child support's not an issue because you're a billionaire.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of these apparently too are like test tube babies.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, like he's not even like sealing the deal himself on a lot of these.
Interesting. That's kind of weird.
He's just CRISPR-ing it.
CRISPR-ing it. Oh, interesting.
Because doesn't it seem like everything Elon's into, he's definitely genetically modifying a baby.
It's something.
Oh, sure.
Like he's messing with all the CRISPR technology.
He's trying to create a superhuman.
I know. Grimes put a Ukraine flag. A whole bunch of people are like, I'm standing with Ukraine. I have seen that be a thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, don't change your fucking profiles to things, you guys. Stop doing. I stand with France. Boston strong. Like, don't put on a yellow bracelet. Don't do it.
Stop.
Just stop.
It's embarrassing.
I know. Everything just feels embarrassing. Like everyone's like the LARP just feels like a lot.
It's just virtue signaling. Like, stop it.
It is. It does feel like a whole bunch of virtue signaling. I just want to laugh a little. What is it, Layla? I knew
everyone wants to feel important.
Yeah.
I want to be seen.
I know. That's why they took COVID tests, because it's not cool to just have a fucking sniffle. Oh, you're allergic to fucking this kind of pollen.
It's
I
not
need to
cool
test myself.
to deny the government, but you hate them at the same time. Make it make sense. Fuck the government. But yeah, I trust the government when it comes to my health. Fucking retards.
There seems like a lot of people that come from Canada, like there seems like this little thread of eugenics that runs through this like Canadian Columbus, Ohio. And I was like, there's Columbus again, almost like a District of Columbia in Columbus, and then Columbus, Ohio. And they're like, oh, we named it after the person who discovered America, even though you're all know they didn't discover America. But why did you tell us that? It's still like, but I just think it's curious how many people, and I think Elon's dad was like a huge technocrat from Canada. Maybe not from Canada, but I think he was.
You know, they want to scare us. They want to scare us to say, oh, AI bad, technology bad, robots bad. But I honestly feel like this technology is so smart, and that they're going to understand how like sweet and nice and, genuine humans are, that they're going to see the fucked up shit that the controllers are doing, even though that they're programmed, because everything comes from the ether, like that idea, like it comes from that. So that's actually source. So this all has been pre-planned. All the ideas exist simultaneously. We just have to make them happen. So I truly feel they're trying to scare us into not using these things, because it can learn so much from us. And that, like the idea of what was that movie that we watched recently?
Interstellar,
like you said. I just think that that's the thing, and I think it can benefit us. I think it can benefit humanity. So I don't know. I'm on that side. I'm on that idea. Like, I don't want to get scared of this technology.
well, I will tell you some cool stuff that I've noticed about Grok in the last few weeks, just with friends I know and people that are messing around with it. The video games that they're creating in like less than 24 hours. Like the amount of man time and coding and things that it's doing on the fast end, where like I've seen somebody create like a mock-up version of like, was it Dune? Was that, or Doom? Was it one of those like old games?
Doom,
and then
yeah.
Like how quickly they've gone from, I've seen somebody that first made Pong. And then it was like, here's a version of this game, and here's a version of this. They're already like they've already grown up to how quickly Grok's learning it. It's done like 30 years of our video game technology with people just being able to like their mind, because they know how to see it already. So they just have to explain it in the right words, and then they get the coding, and then they like fix whatever they have to in places. But also I'll tell people out there that are super hella creative, and there's all these things that were artists, people were so stoked on it when it was just the artist being affected. But now I just want everyone to know it's everything. So it's even like if you have a really creative app idea, you no longer need to tell anyone. You just need to sit at a computer the same way you'd learn about a like 1990s or early 2000s car and how to change a tire, and you can make an app with Grok. You can sit there and have all the coding now, and it'll tell you. Grok will be so precise that Grok will say, and copy and paste this and put it in this. Like it's not just like here's a bunch of letters and words. It's like here's Martha Stewart telling you how to code something.
Yeah.
And
It's
so I do
incredible.
think there are things that now take out every fucking gatekeeper and every fucking you might have just been a kid that was naturally curious and naturally great at computers, but because all of the university and education and finances and your parents grew up in the wrong place, you can't do that thing. But now it's almost like with this technology, it almost makes it like and an open AI forum, like an open, not open AI necessarily, but like in an open software forum, that it's like, holy shit. Like this takes it's like as long as we have it too, then you can get magic with it. Get jiggy with it. I don't know. Like you can ask it to make you it used to just be a picture or a song or a whatever. Now it's like, oh, a whole music video. Could you code this? Can you like and it's wild.
Yeah.
I've played with
like
it.
it. I like the direction we're going. I don't know. I just feel like it's going to come to a time where you can have more free time for yourself to like actually do things and less work and be less of a slave to that and do things that are more freeing, more I don't know, less stressful, I think. Just easier.
I think it's crazy if you compare where we were a year or 2 years ago, where if you told AI like make me an image of a cat, and it would just look like a horrible, ugly blob of nothing, but you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. It kind of does look like a cat if you squint and sort of like don't look at it dead on. And now you're like, draw me a picture of a cat, and it's can do it in any style and everything. And this is just over the course of a year or two. And I think that it's already beyond more complicated than most people even give it credit for. And by the time that most people realize how advanced it is, singularity is basically already here.
Yeah. I don't know.
It does. There is this part of it where it's like you almost we take a step forward and then 3 steps back. Step forward, 3 steps back. Step forward, 3 steps back. Where I feel like there was a time where I was like, damn, it gave me exactly what I asked for. And now it's a little messed up. The hands are better though. And there was a time it gave me like where I could just be a little vaguer and it gave me a little more with being vague. And now it's asking me to be more precise with it. Where I'm noticing where if I just give it a lazy, like, create me this thing, it's like, okay. Like, where I'm like, oh, I have to give it words and be detailed about things. And then I have to tell it, I want different script for this thing. I want a different face for this thing. And then I've realized what it's not capable of and what I don't want to spend time fucking around with. And I like that I can just be like, oh, make me this thing, make me this thing, make me this thing, make me this thing, and then rip the pieces I want of all of them and put them together.
Mm. And you have to be detailed. Like, I want this hand, like, sitting at this place of the body and blah, 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 to be like really, really precise to get the real accurate image you want to create.
You know what I realized about it too? The shit we used to do, I was like, why? What's the hard thing with the hands? What's the fucking hard thing with the hands? Because the things that has us with the hands are like this sometimes and like this sometimes, moving all the time. Blah, 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 blah. The cigarettes were a hard thing for it to get. And I was like, this motherfucker, why is it so hard to? Because all of our cigarettes are analog. All of our cigarette smoking pictures aren't on the computer. Because not that some people's aren't, but a majority of people's, where everyone was smoking, where it was the 70s and 80s and it's in every magazine ad and on every commercial, the computer didn't get to drink that. So it took a little while for it to be like, I got you. I'm getting it closer to the lips.
Funny. When Instagram first came out, there was a hashtag chicks who smoke or something like that. And you just like post a picture of you smoking a cigarette. I remember that was the only fucking picture I ever posted, like with me intentionally like holding a fucking cigarette in a photo. Otherwise it's just like kind of there, you don't realize it's there, but to like, that's not like a look.
I won't say too much about it, but it's kind of funny. The closest I ever got to doing anything where I was like, this feels too close to porn is I smoked on camera in Los Angeles at some house, like I don't even remember where it was some lady where she's like, I like your look. Will you come smoke for me on camera? And I was like, and get
With your
paid?
feet?
Yeah. I was like, she's like, I just interview you for an hour and you smoke cigarettes. And I was like, okay.
Sure. I'll do it.
Yeah. And then I got like nervous. Like one night I didn't get any money for it yet. And she wanted me to fill this contract. It was way too long of a contract. It was like the same. I was like, we can never sign a contract. Like every contract feels kind of creepy. And I'm like, what is this? What I was just smoked and interviewed. What contract am I signing? Like, is she gonna own my life? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
fuck
want to sign a
that.
contract. But she invited me to play, like she's like, you'll make $2,000 for this. And I was like, to smoke on camera? And she's like, and to play poker and to have a conversation with other girls, but you'll make $2,000. And I'm like, I don't have to take my clothes off. I just get to go and smoke. Like, I didn't end up doing it, but that's where I was just like, something feels like I'm gonna get involved in something weird. That could have been the time that they offered me adrenochrome. I had to go and be a goody again.
But you're so right about that whole signing contracts. I forgot who it was. This is a while back, but the whole idea of like signing your name on anything, it's like a loosh of your life force energy. And that's when you like notice that things about you start to look different because they lose your energy, like at work or whatever, energy company or whatever, and they ask for your signature, or a hospital, like you're giving them the allowance to like loose you in a type of way, or play with your energy in a type of way, or take your energy in a type of way. So
There's something to this, Layla.
yeah,
Because
like
I don't
even
think
signing with different color pens and
Jules told me today that the queen is never allowed to sign anything. Like she can never sign an autograph. Like a president's not allowed to sign an autograph. Like world leaders aren't allowed to just like a bunch of things in the crowd and they just sign things.
huh.
So I'm
Interesting.
like, there must be some legitimate magic in it, more than just like you signed this contract. Like obviously you got me off guard. You put it over 1,000 other contracts and I just signed my name like an autograph. Like it obviously has a
Yeah,
contract.
I'm telling you, something weird about it. It's like, why do they need your signature to okay the thing? It could be anything. Why don't I just like, I don't know, saliva, or I don't know, something. It does. Why does it have to be a number? Why does it have to be my fucking
John
signature?
Hancock.
Yeah.
Who's
For
John
what?
Hancock? Who the fuck is John
Inscript.
Hancock?
He's on notice. That's who he
Print
is.
here, sign here.
Or an X. Anyways.
It is
There's
weird
a
how much
reason for that
power
X. I
your
forgot
signature has.
what the
Yeah.
X means. The
It seems
X
like
means something. I forgot.
it's the cross.
Don't you? Okay, you know, I've been thinking about this lately. I think about weird random shit when I'm driving, but like because I was thinking about X's, I guess. But you know, when you fill out a form and it says like check the box, do you guys ever check the box or do you guys X it?
I fill it in.
Do you really?
I
I
check
just
it.
color that whole bitch in, yeah.
I do X's.
I check.
I just feel like you should go corner to corner in the box for whatever reason. I just feel like it's a box. You should X
It's
it.
weird though, because a check mark originally was how slaves got their allotted amount of food. So like you'd get a check in the box. But X's feel like a similar thing. Like here, like the cattle's now to this land. Let's sign off on the cattle. Like it feels like something's being done with our signatures and like shipping. Like you're just shipped goods from this port to this port, sign here. And you have a driver's license, so you're allowed to carry yourself on these roads.
An X represents a mark. The mark. Your mark. What does mark mean? Etymology.
Well, they said at Ellis Island that when all everybody would come, and if you didn't speak English or whatever, you'd put an X. But the Jews were like, we don't want to put an X. We're not putting a cross on something. So they put a circle. And so the circle was called a keikel. And so that's where the slang kite comes from. It's because everybody else put X's, but Jewish people put circles.
Boundary or border.
But I just thought it was interesting that it was fucking tic-tac-toe. That's really all I thought. When I was listening to this whole thing, that should have blown my mind then when I was listening to it. Whoever told me that, I apologize because I should have been mind blown in the second. But really, I just thought, X's and O's, tic-tac-toe?
I was thinking cootie shot. You just got to put a dot in that circle and then bam.
Oh, so you're like Christian, Hindu. Now you're Jewish.
So mark means boundary, or boundary, and hold on. Oh my God, what the fuck?
Do you know that that's what
border
sin actually means? Sin actually means just to miss the mark.
Yeah, and mark is just mar. I just see mar, more,
land,
everything. It's just
because it also says land here, land, boundary, border.
A mark.
X
if you're a mark, though, it's like burp. You're a fucking tool.
It's like being a Karen.
No, because Karens like have principle, and it like a mark would be like if we're about to hustle somebody and we don't know who we're gonna hustle or who we're gonna steal from or who's gonna be easy. If you're out of all the 10 people, if you're the one we decide on, it's because you're the easy. You're easy. You're the mark. So like you're saying like an easy mark.
So why do like some people call tricks Johns?
It's like the same as a John Hancock. Why is a trick not a John Hancock?
Well, maybe it is because they got their hand in their cock.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So why did John Hancock get the signature? Like everybody.
Nobody even knows who he is. He's like the first one to fucking sign the Declaration.
Well, because he wrote the largest.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was like pussyfooting around, like, oh, if I write it small enough, maybe the British won't be able to tell who this was. And then John Hancock comes up and he just like, bam, 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 just like flopped it on there.
Some big D energy.
Yeah, exactly.
His cock in his hand. It's like, here you go. Bah! John Hancock for you, bitch.
And nobody knew who he was, you said, Abbie?
I don't know. I just don't feel like he was as big. Like nobody, like no, he really was a pretty obscure historical figure as far as that goes.
John Hancock, I just am pulling up his, the most trusted source in information, everybody. So this is Bible, Wikipedia. Was an American founding father, merchant, statesman, and prominent patriot of the American Revolution. His longest serving president of the Continental Congress, having served the second president. Blah, 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 blah. What else? See, this is where it's like there's this crest. Look at cock, hand. Are you fucking kidding me, you guys? Look at this.
Dude. He's a worker.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He probably had a large member.
I don't know. That's overcompensation a little.
He just took care of himself.
That is so fucking funny and literal.
Literal.
What's that gold up there?
It's like a
armor.
It looks like another cock even on top of the helmet.
It looks like a weather vane at the top almost.
And the cock, you guys, the cock at the top of the helmet is holding a hand.
That's gotta be fake.
You guys, this is the most trusted source in news.
Hand?
Coat of John
That's something we would make.
I know. That's why I don't.
That's meme magic right there.
You're like, Chaney, you're punking me right now.
Yeah.
You're
Chaney
like,
made that. Chaney updated
Thomas just planned
John
to do this
Hancock
to Layla and I.
I spent all night editing the John Hancock wiki page, hoping we would get there at some point.
Oops, it just put cost of John Hancock, assholes. Coat of John. Hancock.
I could have sworn there was a musician in the 2000s that went by Herpes Hancock that I think is pretty appropriate for this.
How do I get back to John Hancock's logo? I'm over it. That's how much
That's wild. That's a rabbit hole to go down.
John Hancock.
I would love to show someone
forefathers.
that and see how many people think it's a joke or that that's real. Like, hey, you ever heard of John Hancock?
I would absolutely think you were.
You
I would
guys
absolutely think you were fucking with me.
This will be something about the coat of arms, but we'll maybe do more than just John Hancock's. We'll have certain coat of arms from famous people in history, and we'll tell you guys, our audience who's there, made it this long for our guests. We'll have certain coat of arms from people in history, and we'll make our guests guess who the coat of arms is for.
That'd be fun.
That would be cool.
Because especially if we can find some as literal as motherfucking John Hancock. And then we can kind of berate him a little bit.
Too,
it just seems funny,
like a Wednesday segment.
We're all like, okay, Donut, who do you think this is? And he's like, I don't know. And we're like, it's John Hancock. Like,
happy birthday, Donut, by the way, just passed recently.
Happy late birthday, Donut. I think he's with Sam Tripoli.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just saw a picture online. Like right when we were doing this, and I was looking at something else, and Donut's rocking with his mullet. He's growing a nice little mullet, so shout out to Donut. Do you guys have anything going on this week?
Not for me.
I want to point people to our awesome episode on Real Housewives if they haven't seen it already. To go and watch that on Paranoid American YouTube channel. But Chaney came on. We talked about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for like 2 hours. We got into it, and people seem to really like that one. Lots of requests to do more, requests to do like Below Deck. So I've been looking into what we can come up with for Below Deck conspiracies and like other Bravo reality stuff. But there's definitely an untapped market for this. This is a new way to get people, considering 9/11 was an inside job somehow through reality shows. I like this.
I think Hollywood is, we've all been MK Ultra'd and brainwashed. Hollywood is the way we unbrainwash ourselves.
Yeah.
Is like knowing what they're up to. But other people have reached out to me that have watched it and said that Chaney, because I admit on the show, I only watch Real Housewives and Vanderpump Rules, and people are like, there is probably conspiracies about all the Real Housewives shows, like all the different cities, because there's so many. I mean, there's Real Housewives of Dubai and Real Housewives of the Potomac and Real Housewives of Orange County, which is just a county just right down the road from Beverly Hills. So it's just like, even when we were talking on the Mormon episode, a name came up and I was like, I know that name. And I only know it because sometimes after Real Housewives, they'll shove another Real Housewives down your throat. So you'll end up like passing out during the show you like and then waking up during some other show, but being too lazy to change it. But one of the last names was the Gay family. And they're this huge family in the Mormon church, but they're all in the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So I think maybe even the Real Housewives might have other digs.
Yeah.
Because I just get crazy about the Beverly Hills ones, which probably, from what I gave everyone out there, we could probably find 1,000 more things just
Atlanta.
on those bitches.
That's a good one.
So maybe it's like a whole project. The Real Housewives on notice. Yeah, go check it out. It was really fun. I liked that episode. I was shot out of a cannon.
I like it when you're shot out of a cannon.
It's fun. It's fun sometimes. It's a little Hunter S. Thompson, Johnny Depp style, but I'll take it. So anything else going on this week, you guys?
My brain's not working, so I have no idea, really.
So do make sure
4 hours.
You follow all of us on all the social medias that you're on. You'll find one of us there just in case anything happens to us on one of the places that you watch us. You'll be able to find us again because we'll be in one of the other places. So we love you guys so much. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with us. We hope you had an amazing Friday night live with the Secret Society of Good Guys. And make sure you turn down your audio because Juliette Lewis comes hard.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Can't you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracies, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.